flights and disrupting public transportation, forcing some schools to go all remote and others to declare an actual snow day. The Biden administration is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to cancel arguments set for this month on two appeals brought by the Trump administration over funding for the border wall and on asylum seekers having to wait in Mexico. Both are programs the new administration plans to suspend pending further review, so they argue that could make those court fights moot. America is listening to Fox News.
Amazon Alexa. If you're using anything other than Indeed for your hiring, you are wasting your time. Hire great people faster with Indeed. Only pay for results and get back time in your schedule. Indeed.com helps you find quality candidates instantly with Indeed Instant Match. Indeed searches through the millions of resumes in their database to help show you great candidates instantly. Get started right now with a free $75 credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Fox. Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through March 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
At least 10 arrests made after a homeless activist group tried to take over a hotel in Washington State.
The group Oli Housing Now reserved 17 rooms at the Red Lion Inn on Sunday for homeless people. Joshua Brown was one of them.
I was told that I had an opportunity to get that. I jumped on it. Everything that followed after that was absolutely not in any way my consent or I'm not okay with it.
What followed after that, according to city officials, was guests calling police to report a group storming the hotel. Employees say some activists were armed with batons and knives and wore protective gear like gas masks. Workers and guests took shelter for several hours until police cleared the building.
Fox's Steve Rappaport, the mayor of Olympia, says housing the homeless is a priority for the city and calls the group's tactics unproductive. A 90s sitcom star dies young, less than a month after a cancer diagnosis.
Dustin Diamond, best known as the lovable character Screech on Saved by the Bell, has died at the age of 44 following a battle with cancer. Diamond played the character Samuel Powers for 4 seasons on the original series.
Lights low, the hopes high, the gummy bears flowing like candy.
And continued to play him on the spin-offs. The actor's death comes just a couple of weeks after announcing he had lung cancer and completing his first round of chemotherapy. The cancer started somewhere in his body and metastasized in his lungs, according to TMZ. Doctors say his condition greatly declined in the past week and was taken off a breathing machine. His girlfriend was by his side when he passed away. Michelle Polino.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
Nothing you do or say will ever reach the lofty heights attained by the following news summary. This is the Onion Week in Review. Facing increased market pressure and a shrinking bottom line, media company Star Trove was forced to lay off dozens of unskilled bloggers this week. Sources confirmed that before being dismissed, many of the bloggers had been with the company for months, regularly performing menial tasks such as describing celebrity outfits and composing quizzes about Disney characters.
I mean, I'd been with this company for almost a year. It wasn't the most rewarding job, and I didn't have health insurance, but it paid the bills. I'm already 25 years old. I just don't know where to go from here.
In other news, a 6-day visit to a rural African village completely changes a woman's Facebook profile picture. A new dating website helps plus-size Jewish plane crash survivors find love. And a kid figures he'll go down the slide 36 more times and then call it a day.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control, the only national radio show that lets you take control of the airwaves and talk about whatever is on your mind. You can do that at 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. With you tonight, it's Aria,
Bonnie,
and Ian.
And man, some people are clueless when it comes to IT security, and that's better demonstrated nowhere than the story from the United Kingdom of this company that was hit with ransomware, paid millions of dollars in Bitcoin, obviously.
Can we explain what a ransomware is?
Yes, they infiltrate your computer system or your network or something like that. They encrypt all of your files, and a lot of your programs stop working because they rely on files that have been encrypted, and all of your stuff is basically inaccessible to you.
Does this ever happen to Linux users?
I don't know.
I'm going to
Probably
guess it
not.
doesn't.
But I mean, it's not popular enough to hack a Linux computer.
Is it impossible to encrypt other people's Linux computers?
It's very difficult to get in, as I understand it, to a Linux computer because there's a lot more security kind of built in at just the whole operating system needs permissions for everything. That's why if you're a user of Linux, you have to constantly give it your password to do things like install a program, because it's restricting everything at all times. I think that's a general statement. I'm sure there's some exceptions to that. I'm not going to say it's impossible to hack Linux, but viruses, for instance, are written mostly for Windows, from what I understand.
I think a lot of that, though, is because Windows is so much more popular.
It's true.
And if you're going to, target people, target the 95% of people, not the 5%.
And there probably are more clueless users of Windows than there are of Linux, so that
also
could be a factor as well.
I've never really thought about that about Linux, though, how it constantly makes me re-enter my password. I mean, Windows attempted a similar thing with user access control around the Windows 7 era, and it annoyed everyone so much.
Which I turned off.
Yeah, I turned it off as well. But it's never bothered me about Linux. It's just that's what Linux does.
Right.
But yeah. So they got hit with this ransomware. They lost access to all of their files, and they had to pay the ransom in Bitcoin. So they bought millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, sent it to these people. They did get their files decrypted, but then they did nothing to look into the actual how the hackers got into their network to encrypt their files in the first place. 2 weeks later, hit by the same hacker group.
What did they pay the first time?
It doesn't say. It just says millions.
Millions?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So let's get into it. A company that fell victim to a ransomware attack and paid cyber criminals millions for the decryption key fell victim to the exact same ransomware group under 2 weeks later after failing to examine why the attack was able to occur in the first place. The unnamed company fell victim to a ransomware attack and paid millions in Bitcoin in order to restore the network and retrieve the files. I haven't seen a ransom that high yet.
Where are they getting this news from if the company is unnamed? Like, how did this come out?
It's from a blog post from the UK's National Cybersecurity Center.
So the government is keeping their name restricted. Yes. I see.
But the company just left it at that, didn't analyze how cybercriminals infiltrated their network, and this came back to haunt them when the same ransomware group infected the network with the same ransomware less than 2 weeks later. So the company paid the ransom a second time.
Wow.
Isn't it kind of messed up that the government is keeping it secret, because then the customers won't know how crappy
that's a good point.
the company is?
Because if they're treating their own, network this way, then they can't possibly be treating their customer data in any sort of secure fashion, right? Like there's probably just, an open text file with all customers' names and information on it with no security whatsoever.
Well, we do have a figure. We've heard of one organization that paid a ransom a little under $6.5 million with today's rates.
Wow.
But in 2016, presumably that would have been just a few $100,000. And they did recover their files. What I find interesting about this is that when ransomware first really started taking off with things like CryptoWall 3.0 and stuff like that, there was this sort of honorable system among the actual ransomware people where if they hit you and you paid the ransom, then if they accidentally hit you again, they would give you the new decryption key, no need to pay the ransom a second time. But all of that has sort of gone away as ransomware has become more and more prolific. And again, the simple solution to all of this is for companies to just back up their files and then restore the backups when their current use ones get encrypted.
That is a simple solution, and it wouldn't take that much effort for them to actually, implement something like that. There are programs that have already been written that you can just take off the shelf that'll do backups for you.
The one that we used when I did IT work was called Mosey Pro, and it kept 30 different versions of each different file. So you had to have been encrypted for a very long time without noticing it in order to not have a recoverable file. And of course, it backed up every 2 hours or something when changes were made to files. It was really good, and it was really simple.
Yep.
And it protected all of our clients from having to ever pay a ransom.
Even if you're just backing up like once a day.
Yeah,
that's still going to give you not much to, recover once. Like if you recover your files from yesterday, you might have missed a few changes that you made today if you got hit by ransomware at the end of the day or something like that. But that's not going to be a total disaster, unlike losing everything. Wow.
In order to install ransomware, cybercriminals have been able to gain backdoor access to the network, potentially via a previous malware intrusion, as well as having administrator privileges or other login credentials, or just a Windows network, because there are plenty of ways to bypass that on a Windows network. If the attackers have that, they could easily deploy another attack if they wanted to, and did in this example, as the victim hadn't examined how their network was compromised.
Wow.
They
just figured they would get away with it, like that they could just pay the ransom and then they'd be left alone. It doesn't work that way with the government either.
That's true. Yeah. Excellent point. I can't imagine what the IT department for this firm was doing in those 2 weeks.
If they even have one.
It doesn't sound like they updated anything or patched anything. Well, if they can afford a ransom of, at the time, several $100,000, I would assume they had.
Yeah, you could hire somebody. You could have hired several somebodies for that amount of money to secure your network.
Some people believe that paying the ransom to criminals is going to be the quickest and most cost-effective means of restoring the network, and it's really the only way of restoring the network if you don't have backups. That's always the frustrating thing about dealing with companies that have been hit with ransomware. They're like, is there some way to just decrypt this without paying the ransom? It's like, are you insane? No, there's no way to decrypt it without the decryption key.
Why?
Because most of them use really complicated encryption that, you would take
can't just
a
reverse
supercomputer billions of years in order to crack.
In the same way that you can't crack Bitcoin, right? Like it's really secure.
Right. Wouldn't it take like a galaxy-sized supercomputer to crack Bitcoin?
It's not possible. Like you'd have to have quantum computer.
Yeah.
Which they don't have.
Recovering from a ransomware incident is rarely a speedy process. The investigation, system rebuild, and data recovery often involves weeks of work, or you can just pay the ransom, and that's usually the fastest and easiest way to do it. But of course, governments don't want you doing that.
They don't want you paying the ransom?
Right. Well, because they're the only ones who get to ransom people, right? It's also recommended that organizations regularly back up their networks and store those backups offline, or store them online, but keep multiple versions of the file so that in event of a successful ransomware attack, the network can be restored with the least disruption possible. That's definitely the best way to do it. I don't know of any other foolproof ways. If you're using a Windows network, you're probably going to get hacked at some point. I mean, Windows is full of vulnerabilities, as you pointed out, and ransomware is extremely lucrative. These people are making billions of dollars a year.
God. I mean, wow. I mean, I've heard of ransomware doing a few $1,000s, but millions of dollars. That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what the numbers are, but I know that they'll hit like hospitals.
Yeah, they must look at the size of the organization and just sort of figure on how much money they probably have. How much can they take from them? Because obviously a small mom and pop business isn't going to be able to swing $1 million in ransomware. So the ransom people want to ask for a number they can get, right? Like, so they have to put some sort of effort into figuring out what's an appropriate amount.
Yeah, back in the day that I had companies getting hit, it was like $500, but it escalated quickly to hundreds of thousands of dollars. You may have been right. I don't know what I was thinking about. No, it could have exceeded $7.5 billion.
This is ransomware globally?
Well, that was the cost of ransomware attacks. It doesn't say...
The cost could be the cost of recovery or whatever.
It doesn't say how much of that was actually paid to ransoms. I know that governments spent about $41,000 in ransoms. Evidently, the city...
It does warm my heart a little bit when that happens. I mean, I don't really much care for the ransomware people, but if they hit governments, then, it's hard to really say that they've done anything wrong.
I agree entirely. The city of Atlanta spent more than $2 million recovering from a ransomware attack.
I mean, it's a shame that the taxpayers are the ones that have to foot that bill, but they could just stop paying taxes.
It is, and that's a good way to keep yourself from paying these stupid ransoms for your cities. 603-283-6160. Have you ever dealt with ransomware? Let us know.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it! You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org. Freedom! Freedom is the call of the untamed Scotsman and all others that want to feel the wind under their kilts.
At Free Talk Live, we love the breezy, swinging feeling that only a kilt from Sport Kilt can give.
We teamed up with Sport Kilt to let you experience their form of freedom at a discount. Go to kilts.freetalklive.com and see a picture of Richie and me in our kilts.
And then head over to sportkilt.com. Get some stylish freedom for yourself and use code FTL for a 10% discount. Sportkilt.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm.
Is oral health important to you? If you don't like your own teeth, fresh breath, or kissing people, then by all means stop listening. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I became passionate about the product that she created and never want to live without it. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, but I find it does much more. They want you to love My Magic Mud as much as I do, so they're giving you a money-back guarantee plus 20% off. Go to MyMagicMud.com and use coupon code FTL20 at checkout. MyMagicMud.com, FTL20.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live. 603-283-6160 is the call-in number. You can call in and talk about whatever you want to. 603-283-6160. With you tonight, it's Aria, Ian, and Bonnie. And in continuing with stories that reveal just how stupid people can really be, or careless, or whatever terminology you wish, a high school teacher is now being ridiculed for claiming that Bernie Sanders' mittens showed white and male privilege because women would never have gotten away with dressing down for the inauguration. So here's this high school teacher from San Francisco who's accusing Bernie Sanders of displaying white and male privilege because he was wearing mittens for the.
Are we talking about the inauguration?
Yes.
Okay, so this was like a big photo that went around, right? There was a lot of memes that were created
they were great.
from this.
I love them.
With Bernie Sanders just sort of sitting alone in this chair because all the chairs were spaced out, right? Social distancing and all that nonsense.
And just looking like a grumpy old man.
Right.
Really.
The gloves aren't that ugly. It's not like they're like so hideous no woman would ever.
Well, it's also true that they were made from a queer supporter by. They were donated. By is the word I'm looking for. They were made by a queer supporter of his.
So what is this woman saying about them?
It's stupid. So she's been ridiculed for her, quote, performative wokeness after she claimed that Bernie Sanders wearing mittens at the inauguration was a lesson in white privilege and male privilege. In this lecture it was an op-ed, that she published on Sunday. Yes. In the San Francisco Chronicle.
Oh, I thought they were going to say this lady just said this in front of her classroom. She actually really wanted people to know about it.
I mean, it would be bad if she said this in front of her students, right? And she does invoke her students at one point in this. But no, she wrote an op-ed for the San Francisco Chronicle and criticized Bernie Sanders for wrapping up against the cold in his mittens and winter coat, while she claimed that his female colleagues, and especially women of color, such as Vice President Kamala Harris, did not have the same opportunity to dress down for such a prestigious event. Senator Sanders is no white supremacist insurrectionist, she said, but he manifests privilege, white privilege, male privilege, and class privilege in ways that my students could see and feel. She earns 6 figures working for the San Francisco Unified School District.
Wow.
Jeez.
Of course, the internet.
Oh, San Francisco.
Yeah. Of course, the internet was quick to respond to these stupid and appalling comments, with many pointing out that Sanders had used the social media buzz about his appearance to raise money for charity by selling merchandise. Imagine having a platform to write about anything, said BBC journalist Benjamin Rahm, and choosing instead to dunk on Bernie's mittens. The rest of this is just comments on this. I was hoping it was going to be more than that or more humorous than that.
But how is it white privilege to have mittens? I missed that part.
We'd have to go to her op-ed.
Well, she's acting like women don't want to dress up. Like, I'm pretty sure if Kamala Harris didn't want to dress up, she didn't have to. She probably wanted to. She's probably excited for her whole
Women don't want to
thing.
dress up? I mean, all kinds of women want to dress up. They love that stuff.
I love that stuff.
Right?
I also do so.
Yeah.
So I did pull up the article. I'm not good at this, which is why I didn't have it up already.
I mean, I'm all for criticizing Bernie Sanders, and there's plenty on which one can criticize Bernie Sanders. But, to criticize an old man for sitting in a pair of gloves, I don't understand.
And a coat. A man from Vermont at that, who knows how to prepare for cold weather. So I've got the op-ed here from this crazy lady. 3 weeks ago, I processed the Capitol insurrection with my high school students. Rallying our inquiry skills, we analyzed the images of that historic day, images of white men storming through the Capitol, fearless and with no forces to stop them. This, I said, is white supremacy. Fast forward 2 weeks later, we analyzed images from the inauguration, asking again, what do we see? We saw diversity, creativity, and humanity, and a nation embracing all of this and more.
Does this woman mean to tell me that there wasn't a single non-white person present on January 6th?
Well, we know there
was. That's why
Bernie
everyone's
Sanders
acting
was
like
there.
everyone is acting like non-white people or only white people stormed the Capitol, but
I don't
that's
believe
just
it.
not true.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I mean, every Trump crowd I've ever seen has been diverse. Even here in New Hampshire. Now, I don't spend time in Trump crowds, right? But when I have gone to events and there have been Trump people that have been there, like at the quote-unquote Stop the Steal events here in New Hampshire during December, which I went to do outreach on the part of secession. I don't want anyone to think I actually care about Donald Trump. But I was there and I saw a bunch of Trump people, and there were at least 2 black guys that spoke.
There was also an Asian lady, wasn't there?
There was an Asian family, at least one of them that was present there. So I don't believe this claim. Just because the majority of people in the quote-unquote insurrectionists on January 6th happened to have white skin, I don't think that really says very much, given that the majority of people in the United States also have white skin.
Excellent points.
And I just don't care either about what color people are, but apparently people are still obsessed with this. They still think it means something.
It's frustrating how we went from color shouldn't matter to this more oppressive color has to matter or you're racist kind of thing.
Have you seen that they're now actually doing segregation of people again at colleges?
I have not.
Yeah. Yep. They're calling it something else, but they're doing segregation.
So they've been studying diversity in her class and discriminations in the United States, so her students were ready. What did they see? They saw a white man in a puffy jacket and huge mittens, distant not only in his social distancing, but in his demeanor and attire. We took in the meaning of the day, the vulnerability of democracy, the power of ritual traditions, and the peaceful transition of power. We talked about gender and the possible meanings of the attire chosen by Kamala Harris, Dr. Biden, the Biden grandchildren, and several others. It's stupid. We referenced the female warriors inspiring these women, the colors of their educational degrees, and their monochromatic ensembles of pure power.
I hated Gaga's outfit.
This sounds like just such a bunch of gobbledygook to me.
Yeah, it gets better.
Female warriors?
I don't know what she's alluding to.
These are politicians. They're not the same thing. They're not tantamount to an actual like warrior. If there was actually a band of Amazonian female warriors out there, they would be embarrassed and shocked that someone would dare to compare them to these cowardly scumbag politicians. And I'm not saying that because they're Democrats. I would say that if they were Republicans as well. These people are the lowest scum of the earth, and they are in no way courageous people. You have to actually be a courageous individual to head on into battle like an actual warrior would do. These people have men and women who do that for them. They have tools that they call the police and the military, and they will go and put their lives on the line for these people. These people, the politicians, will never lift a finger to defend themselves or others. Ever.
Yeah. I can't argue.
No.
AOC is saying that she was like severely traumatized from January 6th.
Really?
She's been talking about that.
She got traumatized by the, quote, raid on the Capitol building?
She said she almost got murdered.
Wow.
Even though the people who raided the building didn't actually murder anyone, and if anyone murdered someone, it was the cop that shot that lady through the neck.
Yeah, the cops murdered someone, but none of the rioters or whatever you want to call them, the unguided tour people actually killed anyone.
Oh, and some cops killed themselves later, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that's one way to end their careers. And there, across all of our news outlets and social media feeds was Bernie. Bernie memes, Bernie sweatshirts, endless love for Bernie. I puzzled and fumed as an individual as I strove to be my best possible teacher. What did I see? What did I think my students should see? This article gets worse about this lady who is just absolutely obsessed with these mittens and how they're tokens of Bernie Sanders' male supremacy or something. 603-283-6160.
Doodle, Stuart, Harold, and Pork Chop. Pork Chop, his beautiful blonde coat is very thick. He's an Akita, German Shepherd, Lab, Husky mix. They did a DNA test on the 4 rescues. The first year is just a complete retraining. Lots of love, discipline, and daily upkeep. I'm a registered nurse and a personal trainer. If I eat healthy, then my dog should eat healthy. DINOVITE.com. They need the vitamins and minerals that Dynavite provides.
Dynavite is nutrition.
Harold, the Border Collie Pit Mix, has the most beautiful jet black coat. Stuart, my rat terrier, has fur now where he never had it before. Doodle, he's a poodle cocker spaniel. His energy is tremendous. The Dynavite will make your dog happy, vivacious, jump up and down, wag their tails. It will make you smile.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynavite at DINOVITE.com.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. Call in and talk about whatever you want. 603-283-6160. And the Bitcoin sale appears to be coming to an end, with it climbing back up to about $35,000 the last time I checked.
Okay.
So if you need to learn about Bitcoin, go to bitcoin.com. It's the best place for learning about it. You can go there now and click on Get Started at the top of the page. And once you do that, you'll find all sorts of useful information neatly organized by your needs. There's no longer an excuse for ignoring this important world-changing information. But if you are a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com to get the latest headlines of all the news relevant to you, because bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a sleek and easy-to-use website, bitcoin.com. The ship hasn't sailed yet, but it will sail eventually, and I read an article today speculating that big investors could push the price of Bitcoin up to $500,000 by year's end. I mean, it was an opinion piece.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, I appreciate the optimism.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's possible. It's certainly not impossible.
Don't be that guy in 2 years sitting there saying, God, I wish I'd bought Bitcoin when it was 35,000. Because if you said that when it was 20,000, you're going to be saying it when it's 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go to the phones. We've got Mark Edge calling. Mark, you're on Free Talk Live. I hate the hold button. Yep. Sorry, Mark.
Oh.
I'm rusty at this.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now that I hit the right button.
Hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Good to talk to you. There was one police officer that was killed in the Capitol. He was hit in the head with a fire extinguisher and later had a stroke. He is he's being held in stasis. So, I mean, not to say that I'm supporting or anything like this. As far as I'm concerned, there's just a whole mess going on. But there was an officer that died.
Okay. I'm not sad about it.
Okay. So I wanted to talk about the Free State Project. Porcupine Day is coming up tomorrow. And
I believe it's being celebrated on Saturday, but I don't know
what is Porcupine Day?
Fine.
Yeah, what is Porcupine Day?
Porcupine Day is the day that we reached they stated that we reached 20,000 signers to the Free State Project. So
Okay.
That's February the 3rd. right after Groundhog Day is Porcupine Day. And it's Easter. Yes, they're going to celebrate it on the 6th, but, that's just because the 6th is a Saturday and Porcupine Day is a Wednesday. But it made me go to the website and look. And I'm curious, mainly here, Ian, what your thoughts are, is that I see that they're claiming that there are 5,139 Free Staters already in New Hampshire. And for one, I don't know when we started using the pejorative Free Stater to identify ourselves as. I always thought it was porcupine. But
I don't know who we is. I'm not a member of the Free State Project.
I signed the petition or whatever, or the pledge.
Bonnie is.
I am not.
Aria?
And have never been.
I have never written anything quitting, but sort of emotionally I quit some time ago. But I go to their events and stuff.
Okay. I've been to a few of the Porcupine Freedom Festivals, but that's the extent of my interaction with the Free State Project.
Well, I'm going to guess that the 5,000 plus number that you're looking at includes the, 3 or so thousand, what do they call them, pre-staters or people. They came up with a term to describe people who were already living in New Hampshire but have sort of shown an interest and wanted to join the Free State Project. And so there have been, from what I understand, there have been at least a couple of thousand people who've moved here. How many exactly, I don't know. And, of course, we don't know how many people have left. But there are, I think, a few thousand more who were just sort of New Hampshireites who wanted to officially show their support for the Free State Project. So I suspect that's what that 5,000 number includes.
And that's kind of the question I have. I tend to agree. So first we have people who signed up for the Free State Project when New Hampshire was picked. I think there were 139 of them already in state. So bang,
I think there
those
were more
are the
than
actual pre-state.
I believe there was more than that.
Then
I believe it was like close to 300.
I don't think it was that many, but all right. Let's go ahead and concede 300. All right.
So are you unhappy?
I think it was like 275 or something like that.
With the numbers that the Free State
Project
Project
is quite unhappy.
Wait, all right. I'm trying to come to a conclusion here, and I just need a little help.
I think you've already come to the conclusion, but what are you trying to do?
Well, I'm trying to determine whether they have mislabeled this. So they say Free Staters already in New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. And that suggests that everybody who moved and left and told them that they left and they didn't remove from the list is in the state. And there's plenty of people who left who didn't tell them that they left, and those would be in state. And I don't think it's fair to fluff your numbers with a list that says, and this is how many libertarians we have in the state. We got these people who are libertarians to sign our list. I mean, I can go to Texas and I can get tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people to say, sure, I'm a friend of the Texas.
Yeah, because they don't know what libertarian means. They're just conservatives.
It wouldn't be.
Well, I mean, you act like that's some sort of easy thing to do. I mean, it's not an easy thing to get people to join any kind of a movement. So the fact that they have thousands of people who have signed up for the Free State Project who already live in New Hampshire is still noteworthy. It's not as large of a commitment to sign a thing as it is to move to a place. So obviously the people who've moved here have made a much larger commitment. And I think, Mark, you're saying you're not really clear on whether or not they're including the numbers of the people who have informed them that they're quitting or have left, right? You don't know if that number includes that.
I know that it doesn't include the people who have moved and not told them.
Well, obviously, how could it?
And well, I mean, I find that the number is a really difficult thing. So they hold it up and broadcast it as this wonderful thing. But
it is a wonderful thing. Thousands of people have moved to New Hampshire, and we have the best liberty community on the planet as a result of that. There's nothing that comes close.
And we'll be celebrating tomorrow 20,000 people signing to move, and tomorrow is the last day that they can move to be within that, that time frame.
Yeah, for anyone that really cares about that, yes.
Well, that's another thing is that the relationship the Free State Project has to the truth seems to be spurious all along. So, I mean, there was a problem initially where they just decided, we're going to go from a date, and I think it was September 2000. I can't remember what the number was, but some date where they didn't hit their numbers, so they just extended it. I think it's September 2008. I can't remember.
Some people said it was 2006, where the Free State Project said that if they didn't reach 20,000 by that date, that they would disband the thing. I don't ever remember that, but I'll just believe the people that have said that that's true. I don't, I was around back then, and it just didn't stick into my mind that was a thing. Like, to me, this seemed like a project that was ongoing. And it is a project that's ongoing. If you don't want to go, then don't go. If you think you can actually do something where you live, then stay where you are and keep banging your head up against the brick wall. And the rest of us who actually understand how to have progress will keep moving together, because it makes sense to actually have a group of people with an intentional community coming together and making a difference in a place. And you can nitpick all you want about the Free State Project organization. I mean, I have certainly found faults with them in the past, but I don't hold a grudge, and I don't understand, why you bother even worrying about this.
Ian, I don't know why we're talking about grudges here.
You're the one on the phone complaining about the Free State Project.
Or it's false. I'm not complaining about the Free State Project. I'm trying to determine what the truth is.
Well, I mean, their statement sounds like it could be literally true, even if all 3,000 or whatever number of those people left. They say that, hey, these people moved to New Hampshire, or these libertarians came to New Hampshire. They're not saying they're still here.
Free Staters already in New Hampshire. So they're saying they're in New Hampshire as we speak. And I can tell you, as somebody who signed up for the Free State Project, I am not currently in New Hampshire.
Do you want them to change their list every time?
This sounds so pedantic to me.
Maybe they just shouldn't have put a number.
Mark, thank you so much for the call. I mean, I do appreciate it. I appreciate the interest you have for this. I expect to see a graph when you return. Have me a nice graph of this data so I can look it over. Graphs make everything easier. Mark knows that better than anyone. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. That's 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. A GoPro camera that's costs $300 is better than a Taser-made camera.
Yeah, so there are other competitors in the marketplace, and they weren't given a chance to even bid on that. I mean, that's good old boy cronyism, isn't it? You support that?
Are you opposed to free enterprise?
I am for free enterprise. I am against no-bid contracts.
You see, free marketplaces have competition so that we find out if products are superior or not. In an area where you have no bid contracts, you'll never find out what's better. You said that there was no coercion here.
Making the purchase can make that decision for themselves.
No, they cannot, because they're taking my tax money at the threat of my home. You said there was no coercion, and I will remind you that they will kick me and my family out on the street if I don't pay property taxes. To suggest that this money belongs to the police chief is just the kind of boot-licking that takes this country into fascism.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Don't miss a moment of Free Talk Live. Get our archives daily via our podcast at feeds.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us. You can talk about whatever you want. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. Or you can chat with us if you want to get over to the Matrix server. You can find that at chat.freetalklive.com. I say chat with us. It's mostly just chatting with fans. Oh, I don't know. Fans is definitely not the right word.
There's some fans in there, but mostly trolls.
We're rarely actually in the room, but we are there. And
I'm
you
there
can chat
a lot,
with
actually.
us. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. You just don't speak much. You're a lurker.
I mean, I'll talk when I need to.
Fair point. Chat.freetalklive.com. We also have a social media platform, a Mastodon server. It's basically a decentralized or federated version of Twitter. Check it out. It's really cool. Social.freetalklive.com.
I made a post there today about what happened at the governor's house on Sunday.
You did. Speaking of awesome things in New Hampshire, there's almost always some sort of activism going on here from libertarians.
Right.
This is one that, they get planned and whispered about in such rapid succession that this one had completely blown past under my radar before I'd even known it had happened. But with you tonight, you've got Ian, Aria, and Bonnie. And we're going to go to the phones. We've got Truth Seeker calling. Truth Seeker, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, y'all.
Hey.
So just wanted to call and talk make a couple points about Bitcoin. First of all, I think it's going to go to $1 million this year because it's the best asset on the planet.
Wow, that would be amazing. I hope you're right.
Me too.
Yeah,
$1 million is a bit optimistic.
But
I would not be sad if that happened.
The wealthy are figuring out what a great asset it is. And second of all, have you all discussed that there's now options available for Bitcoin and other crypto asset owners to earn interest on your Bitcoin?
I think we might have mentioned that. There are multiple companies that are doing this, and it is very interesting, so to speak. There's a lot of companies out there that are paying upwards of, not just on Bitcoin, but on things like stable coins, upwards of 10% or more on an APY basis, I think, annual percentage per year or whatever that stands for. That is like way better than any bank account you're ever going to get if you're using stable coins in these systems. Is there one in particular that you wanted to recommend, or one or two?
Well, there's only three that I've really found, but so the risk is, like, one of them is BlockFi, is pretty popular, but it doesn't look like BlockFi is insured, whereas CoinLoan and Nexo are both insured.
Now, what is the point of this? You loan someone your crypto?
All you do is deposit crypto, and you set up an account, deposit crypto, They might have an interest-bearing account, and you just have to transfer your crypto into that account. They pay anywhere from 5 to 6% on Bitcoin, but they pay out with more Bitcoin. So with this year being a bull run, you're going to be getting whatever their interest rate is, but you're getting it in Bitcoin. So as your Bitcoin appreciates, then the interest you earn off of it appreciates as well.
It sounds interesting. What was the name of the company you recommended?
Well, the ones I would recommend because they're insured are CoinLoan and Nexo, but BlockFi pays the highest, but it doesn't look like they're insured. So you're putting your Bitcoin at more risk by going with them.
Yeah, I have looked into some of these recently to some extent. I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of research on them as far as what people think, but I did test out Nexo and I did test out Celsius, which is another one. And like you said, Celsius does not seem to have insurance while Nexo claims to, but whether they actually have the insurance or not, I have no idea. It just says so on their website. So, here you are, ultimately, the risk is losing everything, right? Like if you put money into this company and they're like, okay, see ya, and then they shut down and take all your Bitcoin, then I don't know if you're going to be able to collect on that so-called insurance plan. But it certainly sounds nice to say that they have insurance.
Have you put any money into any of these?
They pay out at the end of every month, so you do get your interest every month.
He might not have heard your question.
Have you put money into any of these?
I have, yes.
And have you actually received
an interest? Bitcoin into all three of them.
Have you actually received interest payments from them?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it daily? Do you get when do you get your interest?
You get your interest payments monthly, but it
that
accrues
is
daily.
not true. Oh, I don't think that's true. I thought that Nexo pays daily.
No, it accumulates daily, but then they pay it out monthly, I believe. I think all three of them are the same, if I remember correctly.
I don't think you're correct about that. It seems to. I don't see how they would pay it out because it accumulates to the amount. So, like, if you were to take, Dash or I don't know what they take offhand. I did put some lumens in there, I think. So if you put some Stellar lumens in or Bitcoin in or whatever, it gives you an update every single day if you're on the site. That you've received interest to that account. I have yet to see anything about a monthly payout, but I might not have been in for a month yet. So I'm pretty sure they just add it to your balance on a daily basis. At least Nexo did. Celsius is doing it weekly. And also Crypto.com, which is where I first came across this whole paying an interest rate for crypto thing. They have a debit card, Crypto.com, but they also have a way to earn interest on cryptos. And they are paying it on a weekly basis there, if I recall correctly. So it's different per website, I think, that you go on. They all have different setups.
I'm really curious about the back end of this because I'm not seeing how it could possibly be profitable for anyone unless the company is, taking your Bitcoin
They're loaning it,
selling it at a markup to people, and then buying back more Bitcoin with the profit and splitting that with you.
They're loaning out this money, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And the companies make money the companies that get the Bitcoin loaned to them make money and pay you some?
So what they're doing on the back end is they are loaning collateralized loans. So they're not just giving out Bitcoin to somebody who says, hey, I got a job. Can you give me some Bitcoin? They're giving Bitcoin to people who throw down like a bunch of other cryptos to back it or whatever. Isn't that right? Do you know?
All I know is they're lending it out. I'm not sure exactly how it works.
Yeah, from what I've looked at, they are. So, for instance, you can go and get a loan from Celsius at like 1% APY or higher, depending on the terms of the loan that you get. But you can get for as low as a 1% payback, and you do this by throwing a ton of like 4 times the amount of crypto at it. So let's say you want to give them a Bitcoin, like you've got a whole Bitcoin, and you're willing to get. You get like a quarter of the value of that Bitcoin in stablecoins, in US dollar-backed stablecoins for giving them that Bitcoin. And then you can do whatever you want with that, and then you pay it back at a 1% rate. So they're actually holding 4 times the value of what they're loaning back to you. It's kind of an interesting system.
It is. I'm not sure why you wouldn't just, use something like SideShift to convert those altcoins into Bitcoin or whatever. I'm just not understanding the point of taking out a crypto loan.
I don't know. So here's a reason, right? So if you think the price of Bitcoin is going to go up, and it probably will, right? So you don't want to take your Bitcoin and sell it,
right,
and get the stable coins. You'd rather, if you trust the company, give it to this company, and then you can pay back the stable coins at whatever amount you got them at, and then you get back the more valuable Bitcoin later. Does that make any sense?
Wow.
It does. I'm going to have to spend some time looking into it, though, because I'm curious now about how all of this works. And hey, if I can send some Bitcoin somewhere and have it just slowly accumulate, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, it's great as long as the whole thing's not a scam and they don't just
right. That
cut
would
and
be
run.
my concern. It sounds. That's why I asked about withdrawal, because that would be my number one question.
That's the thing. I haven't actually tested the withdrawal yet. So like it's making interest, but I haven't actually withdrawn it to see if you can actually do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
put in what you can't afford to lose into
Absolutely.
a scheme like this.
So getting back to this Mittens article.
I'm sorry, before you go on, I think it's interesting to also add that these aren't federally protected loans. These aren't federally protected interest-bearing accounts, right? Like when you go to the bank and you put in whatever $1,000 or whatever you got, and they tell you we'll give you 0.01% interest rate.
Yeah, some laughably small amount.
Right, some piddly interest rate that is just almost nothing, basically. They also will claim that they're backed by the federal, FDIC, or in the case of credit unions, the NCUA. Well, we're backing your account up to $250,000, so if we go out of business, the feds will back it. Well, in this case, there's no backing like that. You don't have the government helping you in this case. It doesn't have anything to do with the dollar. It's all crypto tokens. So there's people out there that need these loans, and they're willing to pay the interest rates back on them. Now, how much money these people are making, I have no idea, and how it all works exactly, I don't know either. But there's a bunch of companies out there that are competing to give people like the highest rates possible. So there's like actually a move upwards on interest rates, which is interesting. Like 5% is kind of on the low end for some of these things.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to look into it. Throw $100 of Bitcoin into it and
see what happens.
Yeah, if you can afford to lose it. Yeah. That's not a suggestion or advice or anything. I'm saying it may be worth it if you can afford to lose it.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
These aren't partisan issues. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That message from the White House as the president holds an Oval Office meeting on COVID relief with 10 Republican lawmakers. White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki saying the president's confident they're concerned about reopening schools and speeding up vaccinations, too.
It's important to him that he hears this group out on their concerns, on their ideas. He's always open to making this package stronger.
The president has proposed a $1.9 trillion package and has said it's important to get more COVID relief passed quickly, even without Republican support. The GOP proposal is about $600 billion, aimed at more targeted relief Democrats are calling not enough. The snow just keeps coming, more than some parts of the Northeast have had in years, and it'll stay stormy for a while yet. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, some forecasts have the snow falling, wind blowing, and roads icing over into the evening hours on Tuesday. That prompted New York Mayor Bill de Blasio to tell residents,
"We expect a lot more snow before this is over. Storms are unpredictable, so I want everyone to realize it's not over. We got a long way to go."
People have been urged to stay home, and that has caused many COVID vaccination sites to shut down from New York northward. But Vermont is saying with snow levels not at quite a foot, they plan to open some vaccination locations tomorrow, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. The storm also canceling hundreds of flights and disrupting public transportation, forcing some schools to go all remote and others to declare an actual snow day. The Biden administration is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to cancel arguments set for this month on 2 appeals brought by the Trump administration over funding for the border wall and on asylum seekers having to wait in Mexico. Both are programs the new administration plans to suspend pending further review, so they argue that could make those court fights moot. America is listening to Fox News.
Amazon Alexa. If you're using anything other than Indeed for your hiring, you are wasting your time. Hire great people faster with Indeed. Only pay for results and get back time in your schedule. Indeed.com helps you find quality candidates instantly with Indeed Instant Match. Indeed searches through the millions of resumes in their database to help show you great candidates instantly. Get started right now with a free $75 credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Fox. Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through March 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
At least 10 arrests made after a homeless activist group tried to take over a hotel in Washington State.
The group Oli Housing Now reserved 17 rooms at the Red Lion Inn on Sunday for homeless people. Joshua Brown was one of them.
I was told that I had an opportunity to get that. I jumped on it. Everything that followed after that was absolutely not in any way my consent or I'm not okay with it.
What followed after that, according to city officials, was guests calling police to report a group storming the hotel. Employees say some activists were armed with batons and knives and wore protective gear like gas masks. Workers and guests took shelter for several hours until police cleared the building.
Fox's Steve Rappaport, the mayor of Olympia, says housing the homeless is a priority for the city and calls the group's tactics unproductive. A 90s sitcom star dies young, less than a month after a cancer diagnosis.
Dustin Diamond, best known as the lovable character Screech on Saved by the Bell, has died at the age of 44 following a battle with cancer. Diamond played the character Samuel Powers for 4 seasons on the original series.
Lights low, the hopes high, the gummy bears flowing like candy.
And continued to play him on the spin-offs. The actor's death comes just a couple of weeks after announcing he had lung cancer and completing his first round of chemotherapy. The cancer started somewhere in his body and metastasized in his lungs, according to TMZ. Doctors say his condition greatly declined in the past week and was taken off a breathing machine. His girlfriend was by his side when he passed away. Michelle Polino.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
A heroic broken sewage pipe floods Congress with waste. Johnson & Johnson introduces new leave-in Q-tips. This Thursday, local youth Andrew Robillard told reporters he had no idea why he couldn't wear his Iron Man costume to his grandfather's funeral. Robillard, whose grandfather passed away this week after complications from a stroke, vented his frustration to reporters and noted that his grandpa, quote, probably wouldn't even care if he dressed like Iron Man at the funeral.
Iron Man is awesome. I want to wear my Iron Man suit. I am Iron Man.
And in tech news, a news website refers to its users' ceaseless exchange of racial slurs as a discussion. In other news, Guinness World Records promotes the man who can lift 27 pounds with his tongue to editor-in-chief. Thursday's cry is moved up to Wednesday due to a scheduling conflict, and a family watches in silence as Dad checks out the waitress.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. The only show on national radio that lets you call and talk about whatever is on your mind. 603-283-6160 is the call-in number. That's 603-283-6160. And I got to tell you, I didn't watch the inauguration, but from the pictures I've seen of it, one thing I did not see when I looked at it and I saw the memes and pictures of Bernie Sanders was a, quote, wealthy, incredibly well-educated and privileged white man.
Well, he is wealthy.
He is. Showing up for perhaps the most important ritual of the decade in a puffy jacket and huge mittens. I find it fascinating.
Hold on. Is she saying he should have been wearing something else?
Yes.
She's saying he should have dressed up more since the woman had to.
Oh, see, I heard all of the words that she spoke before, and it just none of that really made sense to me. Was what she was saying.
Well, it's a word salad for sure.
Okay,
and none of what she really has to say makes sense, except the ritual part. I find it interesting that she's actually willing to refer to this as a ritual. Normally, that's a word reserved for religious connotations.
That's a good point. Yeah, it is definitely a ritual. I mean, she's absolutely right about that. And this is a religious connotation. I mean, the state, as you have pointed out in many of your interviews during your sheriff's campaign, is an absolute religion. I mean, it has all the trappings of religion, except it's worse than your typical organized religion because this one actually justifies violence, like straight out.
Well,
That's
a lot
what
of
it's based
religions
on.
have done that in the past.
They have.
And they also carry it out every day.
Yeah,
they do, but at least the official words of the religion, like, Jesus or Muhammad, in many cases are very, very pro-peace. Whether the adherence to those religions, wasn't it Gandhi who said, my least favorite thing about you Christians is the Christians or something like that, or Christianity is the Christians. There's some sort of, I'm paraphrasing that.
Sure.
The Bible's pretty violent, especially the Old Testament.
That's true.
Oh, I remember when someone sent me a Bible as part of my sheriff's campaign, which is one day I checked the mail and there was actually legitimately a Bible in it, which actually...
Was there a note that came along with it?
Nope, just a Bible.
Oh, okay.
Which actually gave me the idea of doing a Bible study.
That's right.
Which was fun for a while, and I'm going to pick that back up eventually, but I just have so many other things going on right now that's one of the least interesting things I'm doing. But anyway, just flipped through a random page, and right there, one of the paragraphs, first thing I saw was something about 18,000 Assyrians smitten by God, I guess. So, yep, seems about right. Random page in the Bible, 18,000 dead people.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phones. We've got Dustin calling. Dustin, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I was just trying to tell the presses to check with my cops and courts of my hometown, Salina, Kansas.
It's the crazy guy.
For my Tea Party laws of land efforts.
Tell me about this
I'm
effort.
lost already.
And laws of land, Tea Party. Ian thinks
I was
the
just
Tea
making
Party
tea.
is over, but the Tea Party is asking for new laws of land.
What?
From 10 years ago. And,
The Tea Party isn't
taxing
asking for
up
anything.
already.
Dustin, the Tea Party isn't asking for anything. They haven't had a meeting in like most of a decade.
They came out to public coast to coast asking for new laws of land.
Oh, he's a coast to coast listener.
I'm
Isn't
not
that show
surprised.
kind of like kooky?
Yeah, it's a kooky overnight show. That's where they talk about all kinds of wacky stuff.
like Bigfoot and ghost sightings.
Well,
and
I
stuff?
mean, I don't know how much of it's actually true,
Sure.
but that's the kind of show.
Kooky, whether it's true or not.
Yeah, it's that kind of
I
show.
like that show.
So Dustin, what are these laws of the land that you're talking about?
He has no idea.
Well, I've got 12 laws of the land,
Let's look at one
10
of them.
commandments, do not do list of criminal court charges, and then corruption monitoring for all.
Okay. I don't know if there's any way to actually make sense of what you're saying, Dustin. I mean, I'm sure you're a very nice young man who wants to try to accomplish a thing. It's just that, unfortunately, without the ability to communicate, you're not going to ever get anywhere.
Dustin, thank you so much for
I'm
the
very
call.
sorry.
People can, I guess, Google that if they want to, but I don't.
Google what?
I mean, the
guy didn't-
laws of the land, I guess.
It's meaningless.
I don't know. Maybe there's a webpage at teaparty.com that describes
I
it.
don't know what's at
The
Tea
12
Party.
laws of the land.
That could be a porn site, Arya. I don't know what's at teaparty.com. Look out. Beware. I don't know what you're going to see when you go there.
I don't know. They may have something there. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here. But yeah, that was strange.
It's hard. I mean, like, it's got to be difficult to have whatever issues it is that Dustin has.
Sure.
Because he believes whatever it is he believes and wants to communicate it, but he just can't. I mean, we've tried our best to try to understand what he's trying to say here, and it's like, it ain't happening.
I'm definitely not going to talk to your local cops. I try to avoid talking to cops.
Yeah, if you speak to the cops, it'll usually make things worse.
So getting back into this story about the racist mittens, the author says, I mean, in no way to overstate the parallels. Senator Sanders is no white supremacist insurrectionist, but he manifests privilege, white privilege, male privilege, and class privilege in ways that my students could see and feel. When you see privilege, you know it, I had told them weeks before. Yet when they saw Bernie Sanders manifesting privilege, when seemingly no one else did, I struggled to explain the disparity. I am beyond puzzled as to why so many are loving the images of Bernie and his gloves. Sweet, yes, the gloves, knit by an educator. So Bernie. Not so sweet the blindness I see of so many, Bernie included, to the privileges Bernie represents. I don't know many poor or working class or female or struggling to be taken seriously people who would show up at the inauguration of our 46th president.
You weren't invited.
How many poor people would have shown up dressed to the nines anyway if they're poor? What is that supposed to mean?
They weren't invited to the inauguration. It was a closed event, right?
Yeah.
Like, you had to be a special person to get it. It wasn't like you could just be a thronging mass of people coming to this thing. They didn't want anyone there. By the way, teaparty.com is apparently a band out of Toronto.
Okay.
I checked it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't porn,
No.
I guess. I'm
That would have been
confused.
teabagging.com.
Ah,
Yeah.
I'll check that out later.
Kidding. I don't know what that is either.
Wouldn't the working class people show up to the inauguration in working class clothes? I can't.
Well, I would think most people would wear their best to an event like that if they actually cared about it, which I don't think you should. I think it's a terrifying occasion of coronating the next king. So I would say stay far, far away from it. But most people take special events like that very seriously, and even a poor person would probably wear their Sunday best or better.
Right, but it's still going to be working class clothes. I mean, they're going to
Sure.
show up like they're prepared to walk down the
Right.
red carpet or whatever.
They're not going to be wearing Armani or whatever other fancy clothing there might be. I have no idea what designers.
Didn't he get cheated out of winning what Biden won anyway, like the nomination to the Democrats?
He for sure got cheated in 2016.
You mean Bernie?
Yeah.
So maybe he's salty.
I'm sure he is.
He looks very salty.
And he
but,
wanted to be the Democratic presidential candidate this year, and he lost again.
I think
And-
he's older than Biden, right?
I don't know. Biden's pretty old. That's a good question. They're probably both pretty similar in age, but I know I read something about Biden like passing Bernie over for any kind of appointments too.
Ooh.
I was having a phase last year where I was thinking Bernie should have been president.
Between the
I
two
would
of them,
vote
I
for
don't really have much of a preference. Bernie is not. I would prefer Biden, I think.
I
really,
was
when
just
it comes down
thinking
to it.
because Bernie at least says he's anti-war, but
He is,
Yeah.
but Vermont has a lot of contracts with Lockheed Martin, so he's constantly increasing defense spending to bring that money into the state of Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
So he claims to be anti-war, but he's doing everything he can to profit from war.
well, politicians are liars, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. And as far as picking between Biden and Bernie, I mean, that is just a terrible choice. But if I've had a gun to my head, I'd probably go with Bernie. At least he's honest with you about being a socialist. Like, he's not going to pretend as though he's anything else. And Biden, on the other hand, is a total corporatist scumbag. I mean, I don't know, man. That's a tough call.
Well, Bernie claims to be a socialist, but I mean, he's not sharing his beach houses and his wealth with people.
Oh, sure.
And when he became a millionaire from writing his books or whatever, he said, it's easy. All you got to do, you just write a bestseller. Like, it's just the average person can just go out there and write a bestseller. So, and he's not sharing that money either.
No.
But that's how the socialism is. Socialism is for the poor, not for the rich. So, speaking of New Hampshire, though, as we alluded to earlier, there was an event that happened here last Sunday, I believe it was. You want to tell us a bit real quick about that?
Yeah, a guy got arrested.
Someone got
saying
arrested
a thing
again for
to
saying
the
a
cops.
thing. Absolutely incredible. We're going to talk more about that in just a moment. Or you can talk about whatever's on your mind. 603-283-6160.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by T.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
We're still not sure why you'd want to watch, but our video feed is streaming nightly for free at cam.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. Talk about whatever you want. 603-283-6160. With you tonight is Aria, Bonnie, and Ian. And AnyPay 2.0 is here, which makes crypto payments faster than ever if you're using the Edge wallet, handcashbitcoin.com, or Dash wallets. If you are, your experience will be smooth, but some wallets aren't ready for the impressive new technology, and the wallet programmers need to hear from you, the wallet users. Visit anypayinc.com/upgrade to learn why some popular wallets are not compatible with AnyPay 2.0 and reach out to the wallet programmers and encourage them to help make payments perfect at anypayinc.com/upgrade, anypayinc.com/upgrade. AnyPay is always doing awesome and amazing and clever things, and I look forward to seeing more amazing things from them in the future. But let's go to the phones. We've got Scott the Bigot calling from Florida. Scott, you're on Free Talk Live.
Good evening, Ari and Ian. How are you?
Hey, good. What's on your mind?
Did you? I was wondering, before I begin my broadcast, did you hear me on Rush Limbaugh today?
I don't listen to Rush Limbaugh, nor do I really listen to any other shows. I'm way too busy for anything like that.
I don't listen to Rush Limbaugh.
I'm sure you are, but the reason why I'm calling is, are you familiar with Stephen Cohen, the hedge fund manager, that he lost $700 million from this GameStop short? He owns the owner of the Mets.
No, never heard of him. I don't pay attention to those people, but I'm glad to hear that hedge fund managers have been losing a bunch of money because of GameStop. That's great.
I'm so happy.
They're starting to make it back. One of them made $200 million today.
I know we don't agree on a lot, Ian, but at least we agree on that. I hate Wall Street. It's greedy. You know, it's all right for Wall Street to swindle people on Main Street, but when Main Street strikes back and beats them at their own game, they cry foul. They're nothing but a bunch of hypocrites, greedy, evil hypocrites. But
well, it turned out that, Ian, that the pausing of the GameStop trading, which I guess is what you're talking about when they cried foul, it turned out not to have been Robinhood's fault or any of the hedge fund managers putting pressure on Robinhood or anything like that. It was one of these settling companies that Robinhood uses to actually buy and sell these stocks required that for the amount of volume that they were doing, Robinhood have more assets to actually back up the risk they were taking on. They needed $3 billion. They only had $2 billion. So once they were able to raise the money to get up to $3 billion in essentially collateral, they were able to resume trading of GameStop.
Yeah, and I'm happy that that these hedge fund managers lost billions. They should go broke. You know, this hits home for me because on September 15th, 2008, my parents and I were swindled out of $190,000 of common stock when Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. Do you remember when Lehman Brothers went bankrupt?
Vaguely.
Well, it was very traumatic for me. And, you know, my folks went to their graves never getting a dime back. And my father was a tough guy. He worked very hard for his money. And I remember when I got the call from my broker at Morgan Stanley, which, by the way, I don't do business with anymore. He said, Scott, look on the TV, put on the TV. I said, why? What's wrong? He said, Lehman Brothers, as we speak, is going bankrupt. I says, what are you trying to say? He says, well, you know the $190,000 you had in common stock? I said, yes. He says, well, that's gone. You lost that. It's gone. And it was vaporized. 13 years later, fast forward, Ian and Aria, I never received a nickel back from Lehman Brothers or the SEC, and I never will. And what hurts me more is that my parents went to their graves being swindled by one disgraced Richard Fultz, CEO, who I blame. He destroyed the legendary 157-year-old investment bank. And you say, well, how? Because he was greedy and incompetent, And thousands of Lehman employees lost their jobs, and thousands of Lehman investors, such as myself. Luckily, we weren't wiped out, but I'm sure there were investors that were wiped out. And
if you put your money in other people's hands, you kind of get what you get, right?
Well,
and this is why you had a bad brokerage firm. I can't imagine any of these brokers allowing someone to put $190,000 into just a single company.
Well,
that's one of the things they advise. That's why they're so angry about this Robinhood thing and this AMC and GameStop thing. They're like, oh, that's not trading. You can't put everything into one company. That's not proper investing.
Right. They get mad because people just place a bet on a company instead of buying, a mutual fund or whatever, which has a bunch of different companies in it. And some of them did really, really well. I mean, I hope they sold at the 300 rather than holding for 1,000, because apparently GameStop is down to like 100 something now.
Wait, you said the hedge funds are making their money back. How are they making their money back?
I don't know. I didn't click the article because I wasn't super interested in it, but I know at least one of them, because the stock is going down now, and they had to buy it or something in order to pay off their debts, and so now they can resell it or sell it and rebuy it. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I just know that I saw the news of one of these hedge funds making $200 million off it. I think it's probably AMC.
Ian, if they can, I'd like your listeners that are listening to me, buy up as much physical silver as you possibly can, and you may say why. Because if you buy up a lot of physical silver, you will put companies like J.P. Morgan Chase, if not out of business, you will damage their profit and margin line, because their CEO, Jamie Dimon, has been deliberately manipulating precious metals. That's why gold and silver, gold, Ian, and area should be $10,000 an ounce, and I'm serious. Silver should at least be $200 an ounce, but Dimon has been playing games and deliberately keeping the price down.
Well, I want to know where these people are going to strike next.
When I was swindled.
Scott, thank you so much for the call.
I want to know where these people are going to strike next, the folks from Wall Street Bets, because there was a talk about AMC theaters, but that never materialized.
It didn't.
That actually has gone down from when we picked it up, or I picked a few of them up last week. That's gone down.
I never finished verifying, so.
And then people have been talking about buy silver. It did go up like $1 yesterday, but I don't know if it's done anything today.
I mean, generally, it's a bad idea to buy when things are up. You want to buy it when they're down. But I mean, it's always a risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's going to go up more. Maybe it's going to go down tomorrow. No one ever knows.
Yeah, you don't know.
Scott, thank you for making a call tonight and having a discussion with us without saying anything racist. That was refreshing. I appreciated that. You're welcome to call back and have an actual discussion with us anytime. So gold, I'm not sure what gold is doing. I know silver's up. Bitcoin is up.
It's up a bit. I mean, there's not like some crazy rise in the price of silver, and I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they want to do it slow over time. I don't have my ear to the ground on this. If anybody out there listening knows what's going on with Wall Street Bets, clue us in.
I don't think we're going to see anything else from them.
You think this is a one-hit wonder?
It's hard to make lightning strike twice, man.
That's true.
They have to unite on this, and they have to all agree again to hold. And clearly, not everyone held because the price started going down and people panicked. So will they be able to do this again?
It seems impossible because now they're being so watched.
That's also true.
Yeah, so the hedge funds are keeping an close eye, and the stock exchanges as well. The New York, the NASDAQ, they've got people actually watching. They've probably assigned a whole team of those guys that you see in the room shouting at each other on all the movies. There's probably a few of them over in a side room somewhere just constantly looking at social media.
Satoshi Street Bets attempted to do the same thing with Dogecoin recently, and they actually
did shoot up.
They got it up to 7 cents.
Yeah,
per Doge.
Now it's down to 2 or 3.
It's like 3.5 or something. I don't know. I always like Dogecoin. It's not the best or strongest cryptocurrency out there, but it's got long-lasting value, and it's humorous. It's fun. It's not deathly serious like Bitcoin or Monero or something like that. So Dogecoin, I suspect it's going to be around for a while. I don't think it's going to hit 7 cents again, though. 603-283-6160.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night, from there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. Chat.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Yep, we still do email. Drop your email address in the entry box at freetalklive.com, and you'll be kept in the loop with Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line. And with you tonight, it's Aria.
Bonnie.
And Ian.
And we've been talking about Mittensgate, this upset teacher from San Francisco, because where else could she possibly be from, saying this insane stuff, who was upset that Bernie Sanders just showed his privilege for the whole world to see by wearing a coat and mittens in January.
Yeah, it was pretty cold out there.
The article itself was amazing, but we've since moved on to that, and there was an event here Sunday. Were you at it?
We both actually were.
Okay.
Bonnie and I were there.
So how did this all happen? Or what was the event?
The event was yet another event of a protest sort at the governor of New Hampshire, the King God Sununu's house. Because that's where he does business now. They've closed down the State House, so if you want to actually find government workers, or in this case politicians, at quote unquote work, you have to go to their home. And by the way, I support protesting outside of bureaucrats' homes any old time.
Oh, I do too. They do stuff that interferes with your home life all the time.
Yes, they do. So, and as far as I'm concerned, he's the governor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He doesn't just get to be the governor 8 hours a day or whatever. He's always the governor.
Yeah, because just like the state is always there, and his rules are always there.
Correct.
If he's only the governor 8 hours a day, then his rules only apply 8 hours a day.
And we paid for his house.
Well, it is. By some level, his house has been paid for by taxpayers because he certainly has worked for the government for some amount of time. But it's not a government-owned house in New Hampshire.
If it's Nancy Pelosi, she's never had a job that wasn't government.
True.
We own her house.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, but as far as Chris Sununu is concerned, he did have some sort of private thing that he did. From what I understand, his family owns. It has been a political family, no doubt. Like his dad was also a governor at some point, I think. But they do own a mountain and like a ski lodge or something like that. So
speaking of privilege.
He's a very wealthy man. And according to Footloose, who was the guy that was arrested at the protest on Sunday, and I've not looked at these allegations, but I've heard them multiple times, that apparently Chris Sununu got into some sort of a business deal with a guy from Segway. Forgetting his name right now, but the guy that owns the Segway company, the designer of that they cut some sort of deal for the masks or PPE, personal protective equipment. So Sununu is supposedly making bank off of all the mask sales.
I wouldn't be at all surprised.
Yeah.
He's demonstrated such tendencies in the past by exploiting relationships and connections he has to benefit himself, like
any politician.
I think it's Newsfield is the town that he's in.
Newfields.
Mm-hmm. And how their town council passed a law prohibiting picketing outside of any residential home.
That's correct. And that was the law that was specifically being disobeyed in this particular protest. So they never define in the ordinance what quote-unquote picketing means. So obviously it's up to the police to decide. And because
that's never ended badly.
Yeah, and then at the end of December, there was a protest that happened outside of his house, a candlelight vigil, actually, which is different than your typical protest. It's quiet, right? Candlelight vigils don't involve shouting or chanting or anything like that. And so the candlelight vigilists were targeted by a large number of police, at least 20 plus cops were on the scene there, and they ticketed the 9 protesters that showed up, also arrested Skylar, who we interviewed a few weeks ago here on Free Talk Live. So we covered that in some detail. And now apparently there were 2 other small protests that happened in the month of January. The police did nothing about those events out in front of Sununu's house. And so 18 people showed up in front of his house on Sunday. And
before we get further into it, let's take this call. We've got Mark calling. Mark, you're on Free Talk Live. Hello? Are you with us?
Hey, Bonnie, Aria, and Ian. Mark Watson, how are you?
Hey, Mark.
Hello.
What's on your mind tonight?
Oh.
There appears to be a
lot
of delay
I just wanted to say, I heard Mark. What's that?
Yep, there does appear to be a lot of delay here. Just go ahead with your question, and we'll try to address it.
No problem. I was just calling because a couple of things. One of the good things that happened out of the Free State Project, I have to admit, is the fact that I'm talking to you right now. When I got involved, I was listening to Free Talk Live, and it was like, okay, I want to find out more about it. I didn't actually make the step to move, but here I am now running an affiliate of your station on Studio 8424 LRN on Flote, FLOTE.app. And I'll be going to Flote Fest. It's flotefest.com, March 8th through 11.
And what is that?
Anyone right now can get on their smart TV.
I don't have a smart TV.
Is an event that's going to be like a camping event.
Okay. And where is that?
Well, so many people do have smart TVs right now.
This conversation is making me cross-eyed.
You have a camping trip for people who are... I apologize. There's a little bit of a delay on the feed. I apologize for that. I'm not quite sure where that comes from. But I just wanted to say the station is available over Bluetooth car stereos and smart televisions just by going to Float, flote.app.
Where is this
Anyone
Float Festival?
who wants to come to Float Fest can go to. It's going to be in Texas. I want to say near Austin, but I think it's outside of Austin quite a ways. But all the information is available on floatfest.com. But I just wanted to say that being an affiliate of Free Talk Live and Liberty Radio Network has taught me a lot over the years. And becoming an affiliate and doing this craft of actually floatcasting and becoming my own radio station has really been quite an event for me, and I'm kind of proud of it. And I think it's really cool to be able to deliver Liberty Radio Network and Free Talk Live over Float. And so being able to really accomplish all that, maybe I'm not actually in New Hampshire, but I think it's a good outcome.
Okay. I would agree, and I certainly appreciate it. Thank you, Mark, so much for the call. I hate that we had so much lag there. It was like a full 4 seconds there. It made it very hard to actually, participate in a discussion with you. But thank you for the call. And of course, we're glad that our content is now on Float, thanks to Studio 8424C. And thanks for that. And we're glad you're enjoying it as well. So speaking of New Hampshire, you had 18 people there this Sunday? Were there cops already waiting for you when you got there?
Yes. There were probably at least a dozen cops, maybe 15 of them that were scattered about Sununu's property, all of them wearing masks or balaclavas. It was cold out. And they...
So they knew you were coming?
Oh, they definitely knew we were coming. They were standing around. I mean, this wasn't planned in secret or anything like that. They were definitely standing all over the place and observing what we were doing, which was, holding signs, and some people said a few things, sort of aloud.
Oh, you had signs, so you were picketing.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the definition of picketing is, so I'm not going to say that I was picketing, but I was definitely expressing myself through signage, whatever you want to call that. I don't know what the legal term is for it, but it seems to me like it's freedom of speech. So I'm not sure how,
I would agree.
I don't know what they're outlawing when they say picketing isn't allowed, but I don't think that they can make freedom of speech illegal, and writing on a sign is long, protected free speech. So, we're standing there. There's some things that were sort of thrown out verbally towards the house of Chris Sununu. We don't know if he was home. He tends to not be home during these things.
Now, were you walking past the house, or were you hanging out in front of it, like
we
a
were
proper
out in
protest?
front of? Yeah, we were out in front of. There's like a little cul-de-sac, and it's a circle, and then inside the circle there's a park. We were all in that park, basically.
Because I know last time the cops were like, "No, you have to keep moving, and you can't walk past the same house twice." But they didn't try any of that nonsense.
No, they
this
didn't
time?
try that crap with us.
Okay.
But they did try some crap. And
of course they did.
And so what happened was we were singing COVID carols that our Captain Kickass wrote last month. And I'll tell you what happened in the midst of singing the COVID carols.
So you were caroling. You were serenading him with Festivus music.
Fun music. Yes, absolutely.
And the cops were not happy about it.
They don't have a good sense of humor.
More about this and more of other events happening in New Hampshire, but you can call in, change the subject, talk about whatever you want. 603-283-6160. That's 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Want to accept Bitcoin at your online store? There's a good chance you already have what you need: a WordPress using WooCommerce and a Bitcoin address. Now all you need to start taking Bitcoin payments on your website is the AnyPay app on your Android or iPhone. Just paste your Bitcoin address into AnyPay, then connect it to your website with our one-click plugin for WordPress. Now your website takes Bitcoin, start to finish, in 15 minutes or less with no complicated steps. Download AnyPay from the App Store today.
Got Telegram? You can follow our channel there and discuss show prep with other listeners at telegram.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. Call in and talk about whatever you want. With you tonight, it's Aria,
Bonnie,
and Ian.
And Ian is regaling us with a story that happened Sunday here in New Hampshire, where you visited, along with 17 other people, the governor's house in Newfields, where there were police waiting for you.
Oh, yes.
All you guys attempted to, and girls and other whatever, all you tried to do was sing some songs.
There was some, I would say, sign holding going on as well, but song did occur. The Shire Choir did have 3 songs that were performed out in front of Sununu's house. And
no, we did like 5, but
no, we only did 3.
Oh,
yeah, they're lengthy.
Did you get all the way through them?
We did.
Okay.
Through all, and it looked pretty bad in the second song. So the first song went completely, fine, and then there was the second song that we were singing. Again, these are COVID carols. If you would like to download the lyrics, you can do that over at covid.freekeene.com, and that'll take you to the COVID carol song sheets that you can download. So if you want to try this at home, you can. You can go on your own COVID caroling if you would like. But during the second song, it was like pretty tense because 5 more state police cruisers rolled up. So there were already, in his driveway, there were at least 5 cruisers. And then across the street, there were at least another 3.
So there were probably a minimum of 8 cruisers, and I'm including the undercover cars that were there as well in his driveway. Like the black, obvious undercover vehicles.
That's because in New Hampshire, it's illegal for them to have unmarked vehicles, isn't it?
I've never heard that.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, they get as close to not being visibly marked as they can.
In fact, I've been pulled over by an unmarked car, so yeah, I'm certain that there are unmarked cars in New Hampshire. Anyway, so during the second song, things got pretty tense because 5 more state police cruisers rolled in and just started parking around the outside of this circle that we were in. And they all gathered as we're singing. We're still singing, verse 3 or whatever of the song. And these cops are sort of forming like a phalanx, this line of cops. And they started walking towards us while we were still singing. And they stopped as though it looked as though they were going to do something. Like my adrenaline was starting to pump. Like there's a lot of cops coming this way. And they didn't continue advancing. They stopped and kind of fell back to where they'd come from and just stood there. We went through another song at that point. We did a third song.
It's so curious how drastically different the cops' reaction was Sunday to when it was the first time you went in December, or the first time people went in December, or
there have been
after
multiple
the
times.
new legislation.
After the ban on picketing, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, very different. In fact, widely different because apparently, there were a couple of other visits that the protesters had in the month of January that I didn't know about or attend or whatever that were also unmolested by the police. So in this case, they definitely looked like they wanted to molest us. They were coming at us. They had you could see the big rolls of zip ties that they had on their belts, right? So they were ready to go. They had
It did seem like they were ready to do something because Frank was saying they're saying they're going to give us all a ticket, and they said that they were getting ready to hand out tickets. And I was getting kind of creeped out when I heard him say that they had zip ties, but when we started singing, it's like they stopped.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I want to give credit to the singing. I mean, because that's what I want to believe is what stopped these guys. Either that, or they never had the intention to ticket us in the first place, and they thought they were just going to scare us off. They thought maybe if they started marching toward us that we would leave. We didn't. We stood our ground and sang another song in full, and then decided, and we kind of looked at each other and was like, all right, well, it's cold and I want to go, and we've kind of done what we came here to do. Like, we made our appearance, we said some things, we held signs, we sang some songs. It's time to go. So we started packing up, and as I'm loading up my tripod into the car, Frank, who's the guy behind Absolute Defiance here in New Hampshire, Frank Footloose Staples, he started...
I was going to say, we all know him as Footloose. I didn't even know he had a real name.
Our listeners probably don't know him at all, but if you've been watching some of these videos, you know who he is. Anyway, he approached the police and was starting to give them a raft of S, basically, over not ticketing, because he was asking.
He said, give us what we came here for. We want tickets.
Yeah, well, I'm like, I don't want tickets. I'm not interested in a ticket. I don't want to have to come
I'm getting
back
in
here.
the car.
That is absolute defiance.
Yeah.
For whatever it's worth.
And I appreciate him. I think the reason he really wanted one was because he wasn't there the night that everybody had the crackdown happened. So he, for whatever reason, he wasn't able to make it. He doesn't have his own car, so he usually has to resort to taking a ride from somebody. So he couldn't get a ride, I don't think, that night. And so I think he was bummed because he didn't get one of the original 9 tickets that was issued.
Well, also because he said they're unconstitutional and he could sue and cost them more money.
Yeah, he wants to fight. He wants to fight this ticket.
I
obviously.
would be disappointed if the founder of Absolute Defiance didn't.
Right. So he's up, sort of. He's gotten close to the police, right? And I'm seeing this happen from as I'm packing up the car.
Did you get the camera back out?
So yeah, I grabbed the camera. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go walk over. Bonnie stayed in the car to keep the car running and keep the keys just in case something happened to me and nobody. And nobody was also there with the two of us. We'd all carpooled out. So nobody and I walk up to this scene, and as we're arriving, they start putting him in handcuffs. And so I got video from both Frank's cell phone, because Frank was recording. Good for him, right? He's good at this. He was recording the whole interaction with the police, in which the police chief, supposedly the police chief of Newfields, New Hampshire, threatens Frank with arrest for disorderly conduct. And Frank says, well, why? Why are you going to arrest me? If you keep talking loudly, the police chief says, or something to that effect. He basically says, if you speak too loudly, we're going to arrest you.
Okay.
So it wasn't that somebody complained about all the noise, because that was what they originally told us at one of the protests in December was, you guys have to stop making all this noise because a neighbor complained. They didn't say that in this case. They just said, we're going to arrest you for disorderly conduct for talking too loud. And so Frank's response is basically, well, I'm always talking loud. This is my normal tone of voice. Are you saying you're going to arrest me for, my normal tone of voice? And, I don't think he really ever got a straight answer out of him, except that they did intend to arrest him for using a loud voice. And so moments later, Frank looks at one of these other masked men, because one of them was in, like, a relatively tall guy was in all plain clothes. He was still sort of wearing, like, the state official face mask, but otherwise he was in full plain clothes. And
they have official face masks?
They do now. Yep.
God, that's so depressing.
Yeah, it's got, like, the state logo on it. Yeah. And so the plainclothes
Can I get
guy,
one?
I don't know. The plainclothes guy, Frank was like, well, what's your name? Identify. And it is your right to know who these officers are in most
Aren't
places.
they legally required in New Hampshire to identify
They're
themselves?
supposed to be.
Frank wanted to identify himself because he was giggling. Like, he looked like he was laughing.
He did look like, you couldn't tell for sure, right? But like the squintiness of his eyes suggested that maybe he had a smirk on his face or was laughing in some way at what the chief was telling Frank. The chief was telling him that he was going to arrest him for speaking too loudly. And so Frank turns to this guy and is like, well, identify yourself. What, who are you? And of course he raises his voice a little bit as he's getting animated,
He's
right?
footloose, yeah.
He gets animated about these things, and so they put him under arrest.
While asking this cop to identify himself.
Yeah.
Did the cop identify himself?
Not to Frank, but he did later in the same video. So Frank, and to give the police a little bit of credit, not that they deserve much, but like they did let him hand his phone off.
He did ask for a ticket as well.
And he did get a ticket. I did neglect to give that part of the story out. Just before they threatened him with the arrest, they did hand him one of the tickets. So he did get what he wanted.
It was nice of them to oblige that request. It would have been funnier if they had just refused to do it.
No, he did get that. And then he got the arrest. So he'll be facing court for that. Presumably Class A misdemeanor, which could be up to a year in jail.
Oh, man, I hope not.
Yeah, for talking to a cop, for asking a cop to identify himself.
That's why you don't talk to cops.
Well, it's good advice, Bonnie. But, he definitely wanted to have this conflict, and so they did give him what he was looking for. Now he's talking about filing federal lawsuits against these guys for deprivation of rights.
I hope that works out.
Yep.
And I hope he's successful in suing the town of Newfields about this unconstitutional ordinance. And I hope to make some of these protests, man, but it's got to be warmer for me.
I was holding your sign.
That's true. Yeah, she had your oppose fascism sign.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's universal. That's what I like about it.
But otherwise, it was a good group. We wrapped up, headed out after that. I think some folks went to the police station to make sure that they were there for when Frank got out. We had to come back to Keene because we had things to attend to here. But there were enough people out there that he had backup at Newfields, or not Newfields. It was the next town over. They took him there.
And he was just processed and immediately released.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with a court date.
Stupid to arrest him in the first place over something like that, but cops do what cops do. Where
yeah,
can people
and the
watch
video,
this video?
Yeah, the video's up at freekeene.com or the Free Keene YouTube channel.
Absolutely, check those out. 603-283-6160 is the call-in number. You can talk about anything you want. In other news, one of my favorite music artists is effectively getting canceled. We're going to tell you about that here in a moment. 603-283-6160. It's Free Talk Live.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
These aren't partisan issues. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That message from the White House as the president holds an Oval Office meeting on COVID relief with 10 Republican lawmakers. White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki saying the president's confident they're concerned about reopening schools and speeding up vaccinations, too.
It's important to him that he hears this group out on their concerns, on their ideas. He's always open to making this package stronger.
The president has proposed a $1.9 trillion package and has said it's important to get more COVID relief passed quickly, even without Republican support. The GOP proposal is about $600 billion, aimed at more targeted relief Democrats are calling not enough. The snow just keeps coming, more than some parts of the Northeast have had in years, and it'll stay stormy for a while yet. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Lisa, some forecasts have the snow falling, wind blowing, and roads icing over into the evening hours on Tuesday. That prompted New York Mayor Bill de Blasio to tell residents,
"We expect a lot more snow before this is over. Storms are unpredictable, so I want everyone to realize it's not over. We got a long way to go."
People have been urged to stay home, and that has caused many COVID vaccination sites to shut down from New York northward. But Vermont is saying with snow levels not at quite a foot, they plan to open some vaccination locations tomorrow, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. The storm also canceling hundreds of flights and disrupting public transportation, forcing some schools to go all remote and others to declare an actual snow day. The Biden administration is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to cancel arguments set for this month on 2 appeals brought by the Trump administration over funding for the border wall and on asylum seekers having to wait in Mexico. Both are programs the new administration plans to suspend pending further review, so they argue that could make those court fights moot. America is listening to Fox News.
Amazon Alexa. If you're using anything other than Indeed for your hiring, you are wasting your time. Hire great people faster with Indeed. Only pay for results and get back time in your schedule. Indeed.com helps you find quality candidates instantly with Indeed Instant Match. Indeed searches through the millions of resumes in their database to help show you great candidates instantly. Get started right now with a free $75 credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/Fox. Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through March 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
At least 10 arrests made after a homeless activist group tried to take over a hotel in Washington State.
The group Oli Housing Now reserved 17 rooms at the Red Lion Inn on Sunday for homeless people. Joshua Brown was one of them.
I was told that I had an opportunity to get that. I jumped on it. Everything that followed after that was absolutely not in any way my consent or I'm not okay with it.
What followed after that, according to city officials, was guests calling police to report a group storming the hotel. Employees say some activists were armed with batons and knives and wore protective gear like gas masks. Workers and guests took shelter for several hours until police cleared the building.
Fox's Steve Rappaport, the mayor of Olympia, says housing the homeless is a priority for the city and calls the group's tactics unproductive. A 90s sitcom star dies young, less than a month after a cancer diagnosis.
Dustin Diamond, best known as the lovable character Screech on Saved by the Bell, has died at the age of 44 following a battle with cancer. Diamond played the character Samuel Powers for 4 seasons on the original series.
Lights low, the hopes high, the gummy bears flowing like candy.
And continued to play him on the spin-offs. The actor's death comes just a couple of weeks after announcing he had lung cancer and completing his first round of chemotherapy. The cancer started somewhere in his body and metastasized in his lungs. According to TMZ, doctors say his condition greatly declined in the past week and was taken off a breathing machine. His girlfriend was by his side when he passed away. Michelle Polino.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
Researchers at Princeton University's Department of Sociology have made a major leap in our understanding of social interaction.
We conducted trials in 90 supermarkets across the country and found that essentially 100% of people disapproved of having a stranger hit them across the face and then expose their genitalia right in the middle of the supermarket, which we found very interesting.
Researchers observed similar reactions when the subject hurled shopping carts toward unsuspecting shoppers, stood in the deli section rubbing cold cuts against his chest, or got right near cashier's ears and began loudly singing Yankee Doodle.
In this particular trial, we had our subject, Kevin, take off his shirt, tape a banana to his forehead, and charge at various shoppers like he was a rhino. Within 20 minutes, store owners called the police and he was arrested, allowing us to come to the conclusion that this type of behavior is still considered at least somewhat taboo.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can talk about whatever you want. 603-283-6160 is the caller line. 603-283-6160. And with you tonight, it's Aria, Bonnie, and Ian. And Marilyn Manson has always been one of my favorite artists. And I realize that you don't appreciate Marilyn Manson. But
He's scary.
Hey, he's okay.
Could be. I mean, he's weird. I'll definitely give you that. I mean, he's a creepy gothic dude, but he's done so much positive things for just the underdog person, the goth kid, that I just have to respect him for that reason. Even if they don't make the best music, and even if sometimes the lyrics to some of their songs are pretty stupid, they occasionally have something that's actually pretty thought-provoking and pretty genuine. But before we get into that, Turd has been trying for years to get on the air with us, and
I'm pretty sure he called last week or something. I don't know what
it's just what he was talking about in chat. He obviously hasn't been trying for years. Turd, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, how's it going, guys? Thanks for bringing me on your airways tonight on just about 200 radio stations. So earlier, Ian mentioned that he didn't really know right now what the next big Wall Street bets thing was, and I actually have a little bit of intel on that.
Okay.
Because there's been a split. As you might already know, they're kind of at odds with each other about what the next big bubble to inflate is, and the one that the degenerates really wanted to inflate was Naked, but it was interesting because Wall Street bets they
what is hold on, what is Naked? What does that mean?
Naked brand. It trades
juice?
on the NASDAQ as NAKD.
Is this the juice company?
I'm sorry?
Do they make juices?
No, I think they own a couple different brands. I think they own a couple different clothing brands actually. Yeah, and for some reason I think one of these big pop culture icons might be involved in it, like maybe not the Kardashians, but one of them. Anyway,
Heidi Klum, she's a supermodel.
Heidi Klum.
Yeah, Heidi Klum. Yeah.
Looks like they do
really
lingerie
sexy back in the 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, so they're a little bit at odds because the really interesting thing was that they started talking about naked on Wall Street bets, but the moderators banned them because they have a rule. They already had a rule on Wall Street bets that you can't have below a $1 billion market cap. So they've already branched off and created their own subreddit, and it's really easy. It's just NAKD. That's the subreddit. And there's even a website that actually teaches new users how to buy these stocks and help them inflate the bubble. And it's pumpnaked.com. And any new stock trader can go there. They have the 3 simple steps set up. And it's just naked, like pump naked, all one word, pumpnaked.com. And they can go there. There's 3 easy steps. They can figure out how to trade stocks really simply using these apps. And they can help artificially inflate this bubble and send naked to the moon. And
it sounds like they're going to get arrested. Pumping and dumping is illegal.
They're not dumping it. Who said anything about dumping it?
Okay, fair point. I'm just saying I would avoid the word pump if I was them.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean that's the word. That's even the word that they were using on Wall Street Bet. I mean,
it doesn't look like anything's been going on with this today. I'm looking at the naked stock right now, and it is at below $1, down 35% in just today.
Yeah, but it's a bubble. I mean, look, it was up at $3 the other day, and it's up from like 5 cents at it starts. So it's in a bubble, and I do recommend, look, don't put more in than you're willing to lose, like any high risk, high reward investment, and ride the roller coaster. And it's inexpensive right now, you know. And look, the power of internet can send this thing to the moon. The only reason why this hasn't been blown up completely is because of that market cap rule on Wall Street Bets.
I don't know, man.
You can't talk about. You can't talk about stocks with a market cap less than $1 billion on their Reddit forum.
The peak I'm seeing for naked is not $3. It's $1.65. It hit that Friday, and since then it's just been crashing. It sounds like this was another. It sounds like this was another attempt to, do it again, and it failed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be hard to really pick up, I think, on where the next thing is going to be. Are they really going to be openly advertising it? Are they going to try to keep the next one quiet, or like word of mouth instead of on Wall Street Bets? It sounds like what you're saying, Turt, is that this community is falling apart. I mean, they're already having a schism right after they had this big level of success. Now they're having a split, and people are going their separate ways. That doesn't sound like a good thing.
If this company is like promoted by celebrities, do you think that maybe they're just trying to get on this train and they're just trying to make their stocks more expensive?
Maybe Naked's behind this?
Yeah, maybe Naked's behind this. Heidi Klum was on.
I mean, I'm sure they're profiting. I heard they're already getting ready to maybe offer a new stock offering because of the bubble that's been inflated. But look, keep in mind,
I'm not going to call 95 cents a bubble.
Well, it's the beginning of one. And look, when
it's down 70
It's down
cents
today, yeah. I mean, it's not like there's some sort of buying frenzy going on here.
And it's unfortunate because I love Heidi Klum, but she was on Epstein's Island.
Was she really?
Yeah.
When she was like a teenager, or?
Oh, I don't know,
later?
Actually.
Huh.
She was just on the records or whatever.
Yeah, not seeing anything that is bubbly here, dude. I don't know.
Well, it's high volatility. I mean, look, going from 5 cents all the way up to what it is now, and going to $1.65, and I swear to God, I saw it was at $3 like 7 days ago or so. But maybe I was wrong. But I swear to God, I saw that. But look, that's a bubble, and there were whales in it that own a bunch of stock that probably sold off when this bubbled up to way
it
higher
bubbled
than
up
it
to
was.
$1.65 over the last
month. But when you own tens of thousands of shares, that's a lot of money, or hundreds of thousands of shares, however much you own. Repeat that transaction 100,000 times when you sell it all off. That's a lot of money.
Sure, there's no doubt that someone could have made some money for this if they bought it back in October
November.
23rd for
Yeah.
8 cents a share, and then they
I'm
bought
just saying.
1,000
I'm
of
just
them.
saying this is a high risk. This is a high risk, high reward opportunity.
I'm saying it's
And
a
lot
failed
of-
opportunity.
I'm going to say I
No,
don't
you
know.
don't know that.
It's
if-
down 35% in the
Well,
last day.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin's down 25%. You guys talk
Bitcoin's
about
at
Bitcoin all the time on the show.
36,000. Bitcoin isn't being driven by trolls on Reddit.
And isn't the Dogecoin thing already over?
Hold on a second. Dogecoin right now is being controlled by trolls on Reddit.
Yes.
And
I'm also not actively advising people to buy Dogecoin.
And the Dogecoin buy did not last more than 2 days.
There is a lot of evidence that bubble was artificially inflated by computer manipulation and driving up the price of Bitcoin. I just read an article last week about it.
What bubble?
The current Bitcoin bubble.
I don't think it's a bubble.
There's no bubble.
There are too many driving
it's a
factors
bubble.
behind it.
It's a bubble.
Well, that's a
Trust
nice
me.
opinion, but
they
I mean,
told me in 2017 it wasn't a bubble either, and that bubble popped, and I was right about that.
Peter Schiff
And it's
has
in
always
another
been
bubble.
saying it's a bubble.
well, okay, it popped at like 40,000 and went down to 30,000. I mean, so the bubble
And now it's
already
back
popped.
up to like 36,000.
Yeah, now it's 35,
Well,
36.
Hold on. You don't know if that's the base. It took almost a year for it to go all the way down to 3,000 from 17,000. So
I don't make any predictions, but
it took almost a year for the housing bubble to deflate. You have no idea what the bottom is.
I didn't say I did. I'd be happy to see it go back down to 10,000. I'd buy some more.
Absolutely, man.
I'm
hoping for it to
buying
clock.
some more naked right now too,
And
baby.
you can't
Naked's going to the
compare.
moon.
You can't compare what's going on with Naked, if anything is going on with Naked, to what's going on with Bitcoin. Naked is just some crappy little company that some people on the internet decided to buy some of. And so far, the results have been less than spectacular, unlike GameStop, which shot up by, a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
So this is unremarkable thus far.
Yeah, I don't see anything good coming from buying Naked. It looks like, if you were aware of this happening 3 or 4 days ago, you could have made some money, but it looks to me like it's
Too
over
late.
now.
Yep.
603-283-6160. Turd, thank you so much for the call. 603-283-6160.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions, or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Bain Books at bainbooks.com.
Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org. Freedom! Freedom is the call of the untamed Scotsman and all others that want to feel the wind under their kilts.
At Free Talk Live, we love the breezy, swinging feeling that only a kilt from Sport Kilt can give.
We teamed up with Sport Kilt to let you experience their form of freedom at a discount. Go to kilts.freetalklive.com and see a picture of Richie and me in our kilts.
And then head over to sportkilt.com. Get some stylish freedom for yourself and use code FTL for a 10% discount. Sportkilt.com.
Sea anemones are the most disgusting of all tidal creatures. Their thick tentacle arms are engorged with the collected urine that makes up much of tide pools. Whale urine, fish urine, otter urine, crab urine, all sucked up by the moon and deposited in these natural outhouses. Clownfish share a symbiotic relationship with sea anemones. The clownfish cleans the sea anemone. In exchange, the anemone sprays urine on the face of the clownfish. It's one fetishistic delight. Contrary to popular belief, sea urchins are not in fact animals. Indeed, they are not alive at all. They are simply the clumped together leavings of the ocean's denizens.
This is the Onion News Network.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Do you appreciate what we do? Help us advertise, market, and promote for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160 is the call-in line at 603-283-6160. With you tonight, it's Aria,
Bonnie,
and Ian.
And Forkfest is coming up, and I've got some rock news to share with you.
Rock news?
In addition to Marilyn Manson. Yes, FUD will be at Forkfest again this year. We have
Fear, Uncertainty, and Doubt?
Yes.
That's your band.
That is the band I'm in with Captain Kickass, Michael, and probably a new bass player who is going to be joining us.
Ooh.
So that'll be good. We'll actually have a complete band. And this time we're actually bringing equipment. And we plan to actually rent out the pavilion and have an actual stage to play on.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, if we can make all of that happen. We're going to get back together on February the 14th and start hammering it out and seeing what
Valentine's
we can do.
Day.
So you can check that out. It obviously wouldn't be on July the 3rd that we would play. I don't think they would let us. But we may be able to squeeze by with the 2nd.
I see what you mean. Yeah, because Rogers Campground does a 4th of July fireworks spectacular, and they basically don't allow anyone to reserve the pavilion, which happens right next to the fireworks because of the fireworks setup on that day.
Oh, yeah, the 3rd may
before.
still be possible.
Depending on what night they do the fireworks. They may do the fireworks on the night of the 3rd because that's the Saturday this year. Last year, the Saturday was the 4th, so they could actually do them on the 4th. This year, I don't know what Crosby's plan is. I should ask him the next time I talk to him.
You can find out with us. It's June the 28th through July the 4th at Forkfest 2021. It is Rogers Campground. It's the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. It's still a little chilly, so if you haven't been to the mountains of New Hampshire in the middle of summer, go ahead and bring a sweater or a hoodie or something.
You're going to need that at night, yeah.
It's right after the Porcupine Freedom Festival. It's decentralized. No one is in charge except, Rogers Campground, but they're really lax. So there's no ticket cost. All you have to do is reserve your camping site, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June the 28th through July the 4th. Check it out. Forkfest.party is the unofficial website. June the 28th through July the 4th. Now, this news bothers me about Marilyn Manson. He was accused of some sort of abuse.
Oh, no.
Let's go to CNN for this because they do a fairly good job of summarizing it. Marilyn Manson has responded to claims he was abusive in previous relationships. He took to his Instagram late Monday night and wrote, "Obviously, my art and my life have long been magnets for controversy. But these recent claims about me are horrible distortions of reality. My intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual with like-minded partners. Regardless of how and why others are now choosing to misrepresent the past, that is the truth." And it's ultimately his word against her word.
What's she saying?
We're going to get further into that. So it's hard to know who's true, but it's alarming to me that so many people are just immediately siding with her.
The woman?
Yeah. We're going to get into the full ramifications of this, but he was due to be on some television show, some Netflix series, and they've kicked him off. He's not going to be on there now. His record company has killed his contract.
Really?
Yeah.
All just on the say-so of this lady.
Earlier that day, actress Evan Rachel Wood, who I've never heard of, was previously...
I had not until Westworld, and she is the main actress in that show.
She's in 13, the coming of age, like really good movie.
She was young then, right?
She was, 15.
So she wrote on Instagram that Manson, whose real name is Brian Warner, this is a sore point. Marilyn Manson is the name of the band, not the name of the dude.
Oh, okay. Who knew?
Horrifically abused her for years. Yeah, because he's such a formidable stage presence and a well-known person that he just became known as Marilyn Manson.
Interesting.
So now, even I call him Marilyn Manson.
Right.
And I know that.
And you're a fan.
Yeah.
Well, what does he go by then?
Brian, apparently.
I think most people call him Brian.
Wow.
She says, he started grooming me when I was a teenager and horrifically abused me for years. I was brainwashed and manipulated into submission. I am done living in fear of retaliation, slander, or blackmail. I am here to expose this dangerous man and call out the many industries that have enabled him before he ruins any more lives. I stand with the many victims who will no longer be silent. CNN had reached out to representatives for both of them for further comment, but haven't gotten a response. Following Wood's post, Manson's record label, Loma Vista Recordings, cut ties with him and released a statement saying, in light of today's disturbing allegations by Evan Rachel Wood and other women naming Marilyn Manson as their abuser, I haven't heard anything about other women. Loma Vista will cease to further promote his current album, effective immediately. Due to these developments, we have also decided not to work with Marilyn Manson on any future projects. Manson had a recurring role on the Starz show American Gods, that's what it was. But the network has now decided to curtail their working relationship with him as well. Due to the allegations made against Marilyn Manson, we have decided to remove his performance from the remaining episode he is in, scheduled to air later this season.
Wow. They're cutting him out.
Yes. Starz stands unequivocally with all victims and survivors of abuse, the network said in a statement. And that's really all there is to this article. I don't know. Marilyn Manson seems like the type who could be kind of creepy and abusive, but he also seems like the type who has in fact been abused himself and is unlikely to do it to others. One never knows. But he's been canceled effectively from a Starz television show and by his record company all over these allegations. And that's all they are. And they've, I'm sure he's Marilyn Manson or they're Marilyn Manson. I'm sure some record label will sign them. But
you don't even need a record label anymore. I mean, they'll be all right. It's one of those things where they'll probably be all right. All things considered. I mean, there was a big fallout between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard over the last year, and it's like neither of their careers is going to be completely over. Even Mel Gibson continued to get acting jobs after coming out with like some pretty serious anti-Semitic, I believe, comments.
Didn't he get pulled over while driving drunk and like just start going on a rant about Jews?
He's been on some rant about Jews. I don't know if it was when he was pulled over or if it was just in a phone conversation with his wife or something like. I don't know. I don't know all the details. I don't pay that close of attention to a lot of the Hollywood stuff, but I do
when it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then it'll come across my desk, but I did see some of the stuff about Johnny Depp and this Amber Heard, and you know, it's one of those he said she said situations. Who's really telling the truth? I mean, there was audio, apparently recordings of some crazy behavior on the part of the woman in that particular case.
I think the internet as a whole decided that Johnny Depp was the victim in that one, but I didn't.
She
follow
still
it
has her
closely
fans,
enough.
you know.
Yeah.
Some people are going to stick with him, some people aren't. I mean, but it is sad to see people having their contracts canceled over simple allegations.
Yeah. So we've avoided it most of the night, and that's awesome. But COVID-19 is still a thing, and the UK has really been escalating their tyranny. Now they're beginning door-to-door testing of 80,000 people to halt the South African variant of COVID-19.
I want to go on, though, with this Marilyn Manson thing, though, if you don't mind.
I didn't have any more on it.
Yeah, I just pulled up a story here from NBC News where they claim that Marilyn Manson bragged about abusing Evan Rachel Wood. And the rest of the title is No One Listened, which I doubt that that's true. But going on, it says that Woods began publicly dating Manson when she was just 19, as though
old enough to make her own decisions.
As though a woman at age 19 cannot make decisions and is somehow victimized by an older man, which I don't buy that those claims in any way, shape, or form. And this is, again, I don't know if this is an opinion. Is this an opinion piece? Yeah, apparently it is.
It sounds heavily slanted.
Yeah, this is actually an opinion section on NBCnews.com. So the claim here is that Yes, love comes in many different forms, but we should all pause and frankly worry when we see a fully grown man dating a teenager. Especially... Go ahead.
I guess she's technically a teenager.
She was.
I did that when I was 19. That was fine.
Dated an older man.
Yeah, he was in his 30s.
Were you being groomed by him?
No, I was really mean to him.
More about this Marilyn Manson story, 603-283-6160.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work, so I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And, all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government, the real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at MyMagicMud.com. FTL20, MyMagicMud.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Our Matrix server is about as free as internet chat can be. Join the existing rooms or create your own at chat.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live, talk radio that you control. 603-283-6160. You can talk about whatever is on your mind. 603-283-6160. With you tonight is Aria, Bonnie, and Ian. And I want to say thank you to Andy Loy, who is tonight's amplifier. This means he's a member of the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. You can join the program with just $5 a month, and it's money that is used strictly to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live, getting us on more radio stations and other cool things like that. Check it out. You can find out more about it at amp.freetalklive.com, including some of the cool little perks it comes with, like an AMP-only, well, I guess technically it's no longer an AMP-only call-in line, but an AMP-only group on Facebook.
There is a toll-free number that amplifiers have access to.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay, so it does have a special amplifier number for you. Check it out, amp.freetalklive.com. Andy, thank you so much for contributing. We hope you continue doing so. So, Ian, you've got more about this Marilyn Manson story, and
look, I don't know what. Okay, I'm not going to take a position on who did what in this relationship. I suspect that both of them were probably abusive toward each other, and I suspect she's not talking about whatever she did to him, because I'm just going to guess. Like these teams, it seems like the kind of people that get together because they both have a problem, right?
Yeah.
And
they created there's two toxic people, or two people who have toxic characteristics that, when combined, creates a toxic relationship.
Right, because according to the news opinion piece over at NBC News, she did apparently run away from her parents to go and be with him. So if she's running away from her parents, that does suggest she might have had some sort of negative relationship with them. Maybe she was abused by them or something like that. I'm just guessing.
How do you run away from your parents at 19?
Yeah, they're painting her as some sort of helpless little flower who...
Yeah, well, that's part of the whole act, is to suggest that, oh, you're just a child until you're age 18, and then you're still just a child, according to these people. Like, as long as you're a teenager or in your early 20s, they treat you as though you have no volition of your own and that you can't make decisions for yourself. And I don't buy that claim.
I don't either. I mean, the age is irrelevant. It's experience that matters. Someone who's lived a sheltered life at the age of 30 is going to be tremendously less prepared to handle things than someone who, was raised in an abusive relationship from the time that they were 14 or whatever.
Yeah, and if they've cut out on their own and they've had their own experiences in life, they could have way more experience at age 19 than somebody who's, as you said, who was being sheltered the entire time. So, again, I don't know what the truth is here, but apparently Marilyn Manson did allegedly say in an interview with Spin Magazine that regarding Evan Rachel Wood, his girlfriend, who I guess he was not with at the time of the interview, but he said that he'd fantasized about murdering her, saying, quote, "The song 'I Want to Kill You Like They Do in the Movies,'" that's the name of it, "is about my fantasies. He said, I have fantasies every day about smashing her skull in with a sledgehammer."
That's just Marilyn Manson creating controversy, though. That's what you expect from someone named Marilyn Manson. I mean, he took the name from Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson and combined them together to say during an interview. I mean, it's a character that he plays to be as disturbing as possible, and he plays it well. It's the reason. It's the reason that when I was forced into one of these Bible camps when I was a kid, one of the people there was talking about this rumor that Manson was going to actually kill himself on stage in 2000 whatever, and he was going to get crucified because he wanted to imitate Christ, and that he was telling people he was going to resurrect from the dead and this other nonsense. Not to mention the rumors that are still circulating about him having some of his ribs removed.
Right, we won't say why.
No, and of course his response to that was, no, I didn't have my 2 ribs removed. I had all my ribs removed, but not for myself, for other people.
Now, I get what you say, that he's just being in character here with this statement about how he wants to smash his girlfriend's skull in with a sledgehammer, but that isn't going to sound good. I mean, I get the claim that he's just playing a role, and I'm going to guess that to some extent that's why she wanted to be with him, not because she wanted her to be smashed with a sledgehammer, but because she knew that that would upset the people that she was coming from. Like, that maybe her parents were, I'm guessing on this, right? Like, maybe her parents were ultra right-wing, religious fanatics, and she wanted to be like, well, F you, Mom and Dad, I'm with Marilyn Manson now. What do you think about that? That kind of thing. So, I mean, she definitely must have known who she was getting involved with. I mean, it wasn't a surprise that she's with this guy. And I don't know for how long they were together. That much hasn't been clear in what I've been reading here. But, if he's abusing you well, maybe you should break up with him.
And you said she was an actress, right?
She is.
Yeah.
So she wasn't like just some groupie who found herself being abused by him. She had her own career and her own, presumably her own finances.
Was she an actress? Yeah, she was at 18,
She was
19, right?
an actress at a really young age because she was in 13, and I'm pretty sure she was a teenager when she played the 13-year-old girl.
Right.
Well, historically, young actresses and actors are generally not well put together when they become adults, just like Macaulay Culkin or any of these others. And he's recovered and he's doing great now. But a lot of these child actors and child actresses sort of go off the rockers a bit.
Sure. Well, I mean, they don't have the same incentives and disincentives as other people, and they can get away with a whole lot more. That's for sure.
I think people getting abused could have lots of their own reasons to not want to leave a relationship, though, even if they are being abused.
That's true.
Sure.
A lot of it is in their head, though. Like, oh, well, I love him or he loves me, and there's all these excuses around why the abuse should continue.
It's tragic when that happens, but I've certainly seen it. One of my ex-girlfriends, the reason we broke up is because she got back together with her abusive ex. I don't know why people do it, but for whatever reason, people are hesitant to leave abusive relationships. But 10 years... Or
it wasn't 10 years. I just found it.
Okay.
BBC News reporting that they began dating in 2007 and got engaged in 2010, then broke up later that year. Manson has denied the allegations, saying they are horrible distortions of reality.
I would still be creeped out if I found out one of my ex-boyfriends was saying in an interview that he fantasizes every day about hitting me with a sledgehammer. I'd be pretty creeped out about that.
I wouldn't be creeped out if that person was Marilyn Manson.
But yeah, you knew who you were getting involved with.
I just expect that from him.
Right. So that's it. I mean, that's, she's claiming he groomed her. And I don't, what does that even mean? Because normally when you hear the term grooming, it has to do with like pedophiles.
Yeah, I think that's watering it down to call yourself, or say you're being groomed at 19. That's like a 7-year-old, like, this is a toy and it's actually like a dildo or something. That's not the same thing as falling in love with somebody who's bad when you're 19.
Yeah, again, to just act like you're some little child at age 19, I don't buy it.
No, I don't either.
I suspect
if she was groomed
exactly
at any point, it was probably by Hollywood executives or her parents or something.
Oh, that's so true.
The casting couch.
Yeah.
I suspect she knew exactly what she was getting into, and she had her reasons for doing it at the time, whatever they were.
Absolutely. I don't know. I don't know what happened here. It's certainly believable on both sides of the equation.
Oh, and there are other women now who are making allegations. Ashley Walters says she worked for Manson full-time as a personal assistant, claims he was frequently violent and would throw glass plates and heavy objects. She alleges he offered her up for sexual encounters with collaborators and continued to harass her after their professional relationship ended. She claims she now struggles with PTSD and depression. Gabriella, an artist known as Sour Girl with 3 R's, alleges Manson repeatedly tied her up and raped her. She claims that he forced her to take drugs with him and demanded she make a blood pact with him by cutting both of their hands with broken glass. She says she spent one Christmas in a hospital after trying to kill herself, and since breaking up with him has been diagnosed with PTSD and still suffers nightmares. Sarah McNeely claims she was thrown against a wall and Manson threatened to bash my face in with a baseball bat. She alleges she was locked in rooms when she was bad and verbally berated for hours and made to feel worthless. She says she now suffers from PTSD and mental health issues. And finally, Ashley Lindsay Morgan alleges that she, quote, wasn't allowed to eat or sleep or leave Manson's house. She claims that he cut and burned her and asked her to bring him Nazi memorabilia.
This all sounds like rumors that Manson is starting to create controversy. And not the first one. The Wood one sounds, horrific if true, and is hurting his career, so why would he do that? But the rest of them...
Well, the pile-on has begun.
Maybe he's taken this Manson character thing a tad too far. What do you think? 603-283-6160. This is Free Talk Live.
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. chat.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can stick it to the man and big tech. Join our FTL social mastodon at social.freetalklive.com.
It's Free Talk Live. Talk radio you control. You can call in and talk about anything that's on your mind. 283-603-283-6160. And I'm just sort of on autopilot here as I try to handle this user who's just spamming the Discord chat, the DLive chat. No, because I had to ban him.
The same guy?
Yeah, the sticker unbanned itself, presumably. Oh. So he's just been, I mean, he's literally just spamming American flags. That's dlive.lrn.fm for those who want to actually watch us on video.
That's right, for whatever reason.
Yeah. We are doing
actually,
more
there's
than
a reason. Bonnie's here. That's a good reason to watch.
Because we are doing more than just a radio show. It's also a video show. dlive.freetalklive.com is the URL. So big news, possible big news for Bitcoin. Evidently, Visa is saying that they may enter the Bitcoin market.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised to see this news, and it may indicate that indeed institutional investors are, on board and throwing serious money at cryptocurrencies, because now, according to CoinDesk.com, Visa's CEO, I mean, it doesn't get much higher up than that. Visa's CEO Al Kelly said the payments giant is in a position to make cryptocurrencies more, quote, safe, useful, and applicable, unquote. I don't know if I buy that, but...
and safer for the end user, and that it's going to be harder for them to get locked out of their wallets? Sure.
Maybe. And may add them to the company's payments network. Speaking on the company's first fiscal quarter 2021 earnings call, Kelly described cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin as digital gold that are not used as a form of payment in any significant way at this point.
Well, that's not true at all.
Well, I mean, it kind of is.
That's true. I don't buy much with Bitcoin unless it's like a really large purchase.
I mean, you got to remember, Aria, we live in crypto mecca here. I mean, it's easy to get spoiled, and whenever we go out to eat at a restaurant, we can spend cryptocurrency and have multiple choices, of where to go. The average person doesn't even have one. They can maybe buy some stuff online at, various different websites with Bitcoin, but that's not quite the
Purse.io
same
would be
thing.
the way to do it.
Yeah, and Purse is a great site. There's no doubt about it. Save at Purse.com will actually send a little bit to the show if you enter through that URL. If you create your account through that URL afterwards, it doesn't matter. But according to the story here, he says, our strategy here is to work with wallets and exchanges to enable users to purchase these currencies using their Visa credentials, or to cash out onto our Visa credential to make a fiat purchase at any of the 70 million merchants where Visa is accepted globally, he said.
So they actually have a plan here. This isn't just, we could maybe add Bitcoin to Visa.
It does sound like they've got something specific in mind here. Yeah, you're right about that.
That's good news
that
for
said,
Bitcoin.
I've already got a card in my wallet with, I think, the Visa logo on it that is a cryptocurrency debit card. And I know MasterCard has some of these here. Let's see. Yep, that's the Visa logo there on my card. So
is that Crypto.com or
that's
Uphold?
the Crypto.com card, and Uphold, I believe, is MasterCard. So that doesn't necessarily mean, that's the MasterCard one for Uphold. So I mean,
and these allow you to just swipe the card, and it deducts the equivalent amount of cryptocurrency from your wallets.
Uphold does. The Crypto.com card, you have to convert to dollars before you load the card, whereas Uphold actually does pull from your crypto balance.
Okay.
So Uphold is a little bit nicer in that way.
So Uphold is effectively buying your cryptocurrency from you and settling the USD debt for you.
However they're doing it, something like that. But they do it at the point of sale with Uphold.com, which is really cool. That's something that's very hard to find in a lot of these Visa debit cards. So I'm not sure exactly what it is that he's saying that Visa will do differently than what is already being done on a variety of different crypto debit cards.
I'm not sure it has to do anything differently than what they're doing. It's got the name recognition. It's the trusted one that the average person will, go to. Oh, Visa has their own thing now with cryptocurrency, and it makes Bitcoin look more legitimate in the eyes of the average user. And I'm happy about that.
And if something that this does is makes it easier for people to buy Bitcoin, then I support it, because for a while there, it looked like companies like Visa or the banks, especially the banks, were trying to actively stop people from buying cryptocurrencies, where they were saying, oh, well, if you're transacting with this company, we're going to cut your account off. What he sounds like he's saying here is he wants people to, quote, work with wallets and exchanges to enable users to purchase these currencies. So that sounds to me like, Visa, they know what's happening with their transactions that are coming through, right? And if for instance, Visa has been instructed by the U.S. federal government to say if a offshore casino wants to charge somebody's card, then you're supposed to deny that. They're not supposed to do business with certain businesses, specifically casinos.
Really?
It's illegal in the United States, from what I understand, for any banking institution to assist a person from the United States with loading up a casino account.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's not legal. Now, it's legal. I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice.
I presume this is why so many online casinos have moved to using cryptocurrency?
Yes, that's exactly why. It's not illegal as I understand it. Now, again, not a lawyer. You might want to do your own research. If you're into gambling, you probably already have on this. But
it is not illegal to gamble online. So you can legally gamble on an internet website.
It's just illegal for them to help me get money there.
Correct. It's illegal for the banks, and in this case Visa, any payment processor, to help you put money onto those platforms.
Fascinating.
So that's why crypto gets around all that, because crypto is permissionless and you don't have to have a central authority like Visa standing in the way. So he goes on saying that CoinDesk says the payments executive also said stable coins could be used for global commerce, and that digital currencies running on public blockchains as additional networks, just like RTP or ACH networks. So stable coins, for our listeners that don't know, are cryptocurrency tokens that are backed by usually $1 or like an ounce of gold or some physical thing that backs up this digital token. And so he's acknowledging the value of stable coins here, which is also very interesting.
Well, didn't the comptroller of the currency do the same thing recently as well, and essentially elevated the use of stable coins to the same level as wire transfers and ACH?
Yes.
By saying that, hey, banks, you can use stable coins to settle debts with each other or whatever.
Yep. That happened toward the end of 2020, and that was pretty important news for the future of banks being involved in cryptocurrency, because basically all of the fears that banks have had for the last several years about doing things with crypto have essentially been put to rest. Amazingly, I didn't see this coming. Like, the federal government basically told banks in the year 2020, yeah, you can do things with crypto, and yeah, you can use stablecoins to settle debts, or to transfer money from institution to institution, which would be great if that actually happened. Now, banks, of course, are slow as hell at doing anything, at all. So it might be another decade before they figure out how to transfer a stablecoin around.
Can banks getting involved in cryptocurrencies help the government, regulate cryptocurrency at all? Just sounds scary. It's weird that Janet Yellen was just talking really bad about cryptocurrencies, and at the same time, Visa is talking good about it.
Well,
yeah, that's true.
She made one remark that was negative about Bitcoin being used for criminal activity or something like that, but a lot of what she said was neutral or positive. I think she referred to blockchain as innovative technology and some other things. But, the crypto community took that one little thing she said and just ran with it and ignored the rest of it.
Like me.
But you do ask a good question, and that is, what's going to happen out of all of this? It seems contradictory to have Visa embracing Bitcoin while this, the government
Bitcoin
politicians
will kill Visa. That's the goal of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be successful, but the goal of Bitcoin is to kill banks and Visa and MasterCard and these other evil banking institutions.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Bitcoin itself has sort of been co-opted by these evil institutions, and that's arguably why Bitcoin has never scaled up to the point where it could have a chance of killing Visa, because the programmers won't solve the block size issue to allow the coin to scale. So
But other cryptocurrencies have, like Bitcoin SV, which I'm not a fan of, but it did solve that problem.
Yeah, they did. But, what's going to happen, why these mixed messages are coming out, I don't know, because you do have this, it is a mixed message, right? You've got people like Yellen, and the guy before Yellen, I believe, wasn't it Mnuchin? He was Trump's appointee.
Yeah.
He was not friendly towards cryptocurrency at all, but yet in the year 2020, you had all these positive decisions for the banks being able to use cryptocurrency. So it's a very confusing situation. I'm optimistic as far as the legal situation is concerned, because even though the government is going to try to regulate crypto exchanges and things like that, I don't think that they can ultimately ban cryptocurrency, because it would be an attack on freedom of speech.
That's generally my position on it as well. I think that the state ultimately is an organization that is trying to preserve itself and its own relevance, and it knows that Bitcoin could undermine its existence, and it can't stop it. So its best choice at this point is to embrace it.
Last quote here from Visa. He says, and it goes without saying, to the extent a specific digital currency becomes a recognized means of exchange, there's no reason why we can't add it to our network, which already supports over 160 currencies today.
Wow, fascinating. Hey, thanks for listening. It's been Free Talk Live.
See you tomorrow.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite